Uh, Hi everyone. I think people are having a good conversation in the chat section today. Okay, hi everyone. How are you doing today? Could you drop a quick hi or hello? Right. Okay, finally, people are here. So people have come out of their conversation in the chat section. Good guys. Good for us at least. Right. So I think can I ask for a quick review of yesterday's class, because I told you Adarsh is one of the best instructors we have. Now could I have a quick review from you guys? How was yesterday's class? How did you like Adarsh teaching, or did you like it or not? Honestly, right? It's amazing, right? I've already heard about it. I mean, a lot many people have already told us about the same. And okay, is it too fast? uh Great guys. So I think someone said it's too fast. That might sound too fast to you, but then again you can try coping up. I have given the feedback to him as well, and I think a lot many feedbacks are something that he will take up. But then if the feedback seems really if the feedback is coming from a wider audience, then that's more appreciated. So are there a lot many people who feel that it's really, I mean, not I think it's really fast. Is it really fast for a lot many people, or is it fine? So for people who already covered the first few classes properly, I think it might not be really fast, guys. Yeah, exactly. He's fine because he's taken the pre-course a lot many times. Now he teaches the main batch. So I think he is one of the best instructors that we have, guys. I mean, nothing more that we can provide. Though I can always share the feedback with him. Oh, waiting for the main batch. Oh, Farooq is waiting for the main batch. That's nice, Farooq. I mean, I think that am I not unmuted? Funny coders. Okay, right. I think I'm already unmuted. I am speaking and it's properly audible, I believe. Anyways, so you would have to check your if you would have to check your connection once. Okay. And for people who are waiting for the main batch, guys, I like the energy. Trust me, that's great to have you guys waiting for the main batch so soon. I mean, it's just the third day, and then it's nice to see this energy. Anyways, guys, I think I have to make few announcements before we move on to a quick alumni session with a few of our alumni who were placed, and I think you would love to interact with them as well. However, I would have to make few announcements. First thing, guys, are you solving the assignments? Have you started solving the assignments? Why are people saying that they're eagerly excited for the main batch? I mean, that's great to know that you are excited to join the main batch, but okay, let's just come to the assignments bit first. Make sure that you are solving the assignments in order to enter the main batch. That's the first thing that you have to do, right? And yeah, okay, so I think people are solving the assignments, right? Great, guys, you have to solve at least 18 assignments. Just remember that 8 assignments done. That's great. Websites is not opening after hard refresh, and we need assistance in solving. Guys, whatever issues you're facing while solving the assignments, make sure you're asking the same on Discord, right? This Discord thing would help you a lot because we have these live out sessions on Discord throughout the day. So in case you have any issue while solving the assignments, we can make sure that you have your issue resolved before going ahead, because we get it that you are not from coding backgrounds. I mean, a lot of people here might never have started with coding in their entire life, right? So that is something that we do realize, and that is why we have constant doubt clearing sessions, recordings, and live doubt clearance on Discord itself. So make sure that you guys are going ahead with the same, joining Discord, asking your doubts, right? And again, this is the Discord link for everyone, and I'll just call the alumni. Dilbag is asking about them since, right? Accio Discord it is. Okay, guys, I think the Discord link is visible to everyone, and you can just go ahead, join this Discord link, and that would be enough. Okay, anyways, so guys, I'll just invite the alumni. And okay, Ankit says he's spamming and not asking. Guys, okay, we can have your conversations later. Meanwhile, I'll just call the alumni and we can have a quick conversation with him and with them. And then I think we can figure out the rest of the teaching bit later. Meanwhile, guys, make sure you're also solving code of the day. Has anyone started solving code of the day yet? Code of the day, guys. Are you solving it regularly? Oh, all three. That's great. Guys, so code of the day is pretty necessary in case you're going ahead with the classes and if you wish to go ahead with the scholarship, right? So make sure that you're going ahead solving code of the day every day on a regular basis for to become eligible for the scholarships. Okay. And okay. I'll just go ahead and invite the alumni now. Okay, I think they'll be joining us soon now. So, Himanshu is asking how much scholarship can we avail? So, Himanshu, you can avail a 20,000 rupees scholarship on the main batch fee once you're going ahead solving code of the day and becoming eligible for the scholarship, right? Once you solve all code of the days, you go ahead and become eligible for the scholarship. I think Ankit knows better, so Ankit is answering on my behalf though, but yeah, that's the same. Okay. Arya, can you try unmuting yourself once?
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible to you?
Yeah, you are.
Is my voice is clear?
Yes, your voice is clear,
Oh, okay.
but then you might have to also switch on your video.
Okay, ma'am. I can.
Right. And 1 second.
Oh,
Okay, hi, once again. So I think another alumnus is also joining us, and yeah, that should be something. So 1 second, guys. Okay. So hi everyone. Can we have a quick hi or hello to from everyone who's here? Who are our alumni?
hello, everyone.
Yeah, hello
We have
everyone.
Arya and we have Haifa. So both of them have come here to just have a quick conversation with you about how the experience looks like, how they have been doing after their placements, and yeah, how they got their placements and stuff like that, right? So I think I'll just ask a quick question so to both of you. We'll start with Arya first, and then we come to Haifa, right? Right. So I think Arya, first things first. So could you give us a bit of introduction about your background? How are
Like,
you coming from?
okay. So my name is Arvish Karma. Basically, I come from Asamgarh district of Uttar Pradesh. It is a tier three city, and I did my graduation in electronics and communication engineering from PSIT Kanpur. And in my college days, like it was 2021, so post COVID days, so there was opportunities in college, but in my 12th I got 57%, so that was a biggest setback for me. College was not giving me enough opportunities, so
Right.
then I was searching for where I can use my potential, and got to know about AccioJob and join it in March 2022 only.
Okay. And when did you get your placement?
Like I got placed on August, no, October 11th. That was my
Okay.
placement day,
Right. Got it.
and joined the company on 17 October.
All right. Okay. Okay. Anyways, Haifa, can I ask you a question now? Can I ask you the same question now? What is your background? Where do you come from? And how are
Yeah,
you?
Yeah, I'm from Bijapur district of Karnataka.
Right.
And actually, after my graduation, I had some gap because of my marriage. But to overcome this gap, I had enrolled into my master's. Since there was COVID time and everything was going online, so I thought this is a better opportunity to sit in home and pursue something sitting idly. So I had enrolled into masters. After completing 1 year of my masters, even in my college did not have many opportunities for MTech students. Most of the opportunities were going to BTech and freshers. Because of my gap and all, I had no opportunities. So in the March 2022 only itself, I had enrolled into AccioJob, and I got to know about AccioJob through Instagram. And from there, I had enrolled in I think in October, end of the October or first November, something like that. I got my placement.
Okay.
And yeah,
So I think your placement was also pretty early, right? So I think, guys, if you guys do come from tier three cities, if I could say that, right?
yeah. It's
So
tier
Yes.
I
three
think, and where are
cities.
you placed right now? Which cities are you placed in right now?
I am placed in Bangalore.
Okay.
Currently, I am in Noida.
Okay, Noida, right. Got it. So I think since you're already here, again, could I ask you the next question, Arya? So could you tell us a bit about your placement? Where are you placed and what is your package?
Like I placed in Hexaview Technology. It is a good company. Like
And
uh,
exactly, you do not have to reveal the package if you don't wish to, guys, again, because that might be something that I have heard there is a company bond. So that depends upon you if you wish to reveal the package or not, right? So you can go ahead now.
like I can tell you, like it is basically 5 to 7 LPA in between.
Right. Okay.
And as I am 2022 pass out, so this is sufficient for me as being from electronics and communication engineering background and nothing know about CS. And as I am, this is my first step towards IT sector, so
Right.
this is sufficient amount.
Okay.
Like,
Got it. Got it. So I think that's it from my end for you. And again, what is your designation, Arya?
ma'am, my designation is like associate application engineer.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Okay. And Haifa, can I know more about you? Where are you placed? And
Yeah,
this.
yeah. Yeah, I'm placed in Lowe's. Lowe's is a company in Bangalore. It is a service retailer company, and and my designation is associate software engineer. And my this package lies somewhere around 10 plus LPA. So
Okay. So that's
yeah,
as well.
yeah. After having a gap and to start career with such a package, I think it is a great opportunity which AccioJob has given to me.
Right. I mean, I think you worked for the same. Okay. Okay. Anyways, Dhanush is asking what you do with that much money. I think Dhanush, that she'll figure out. Anyways. Okay. So my next question would be why did you apply for AccioJob? Again, guys, Arya, coming to you. Why AccioJob? Because I think there are a lot of courses happening around as well. Why again AccioJob only?
Like the reason was simple. As I was searching for, as I told you, there was lack of opportunity for me for in college days due to my 12th, and I think that was not my mistake, and that was the circumstance due to which I got. So I was searching here and there that what can I do, like uh, so I got to know about AccioJob, and on the AccioJob website there is written there is no eligibility criteria and all those things. So I chosen that I must give a chance to AccioJob. So I choose it.
Okay, got it. And Haifa, what about you?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, because I had first of all, I had one what you say, it is a negative point that I had a gap. Okay. So before joining AccioJob, I had what you say, I had been to so many consultancy. Seeing my gap only, I think they told me no on my face. I'll be honest with that. Secondly, after when I joined MTech, thinking that at least I'll get some opportunities from my college, but there also most of the opportunities were for BTech. BTech, and so I was most of the time, whenever I'm sitting idle on my Instagram or on my Google, I used to only search about consultancy or anything, any source which will help me to get this job. So suddenly this AccioJob thing got popped up, and it was pay after placement opportunity. And also I had seen many alumni videos where people with kids with so many gaps, all this. They had good opportunities where they got into a nice career. So that made me motivated to join AccioJob, to search about AccioJob. And so I landed into AccioJob.
Okay, great. So I think Hi-Fi is someone, Hi-Fi has been telling us a lot about how, I think Hi-Fi is someone who has faced a lot of difficulties. That is somewhat I've known from whatever she's been telling us, right? So I
Yeah, yeah.
think it's great that you have a package like that, Hi-Fi, anyways. Okay, so now Arya, coming back to you, I think there is one more question that I need to know about. So what happens is that Arya, there was this program, there was this course going on, but I mean, what was the USP of the course for you? Because I think all of us have these favorite parts, right? So what do you like the most? What helped you in any way or the other? So what was something that made the course stand out for you?
So the best part was actually, honestly telling, I was very passionate about IIT in my 12th and all those. So the founders and the core team of AccioJob basically belongs to IIT people, and their
Right.
work culture, and they are very hardworking. And that sometimes it inspire me that if you ask to batch manager, even in 12 in the midnight, and he is available to you, so it was like if he is working for me only. And so I must give my 100%. So the overall team, Accio team, is very very hard working and working for you. So that was their passion was like very motivating for me.
Okay, okay. Great. Got it, Arya. So I think you've done advertising on our behalf. Thank you so much for that.
Okay.
Okay. Anyways, Haifa, coming to you. I mean, what did you like the most about the course? I think I'll take a few questions from the chat section, guys.
Yeah, yeah.
So you do not need to take up these questions again. You don't need to ask these questions again. But then again, Haifa, could you just answer this question? Okay, yeah, I just wanted to ask you what was the most important part of the course for you, or what was the highlight of the course for you?
Yeah, highlight part, I guess this is a, DSA part. Actually, being a computer science student from starting of my BTech, always found DSA part was very difficult to
Right.
solve by myself. And when I studied or when I searched that people are learning DSA and cracking very product-based companies, so that always motivated me to understand DSA to learn in minutes. So in AccioJob, I had very good mentors, especially I think Vikas Tiwari, is his name, mentor, where he has taught me about the trees and all. Where his method of teaching was very smoothly. He has taken us. If he had taught us one question, we were able to solve questions which were related to that questions. Okay, without taking his help, we could easily solve other questions. So that has motivated. So that is my highlighted part of DSA. After joining AccioJob, I understood that taking coaching or taking help or guide from such instructors would help you to really crack such companies. I feel like that.
Okay, right, got it. So that was also insightful. Again, guys, I think Arya, this is a question that people have been asking in the chat section. So I think you can take this up. So did you find the 6 to 9 month journey hard or easy? How was the journey for you?
Honestly saying, I
It's good.
started in the last few days of March. Like my batch started on 28th
Right.
of March. So if you count April to September, so it is almost 6 month journey. So it was like I was in my college for initial 3 months. Then after college, I was 100% dedicated to it. So before first 3 months was pretty like for me it was a game of time management. Like it was last year, last time of college, so I need to enjoy my college also. And then after I was 100% dedicated to it. If when I was 100% dedicated, it was easy for me basically. And before first 3 months it was game of time management, and nothing like uh, difficult was there. Like
Okay. Okay. Got it. And what about you, Haifa?
Yeah, for me, 6 to 9 months. I feel that for which whatever you are planning in your life, you have to take up it as very seriously and you have to work hard. You can't take it easily because nothing can come easily in your life. So I think not only in this, in any field also, if you go and you work for anything, I think you have to be very dedicated and you have to push very hard to yourself. And
Right.
especially for me, being a mother, being a housewife, balancing my home, balancing all work, and then coming and taking a laptop and sitting and learning and seeing watching videos, it was difficult for me, but I had managed, because something which motivates us will take us it will take up to our destination. So getting into a job was passion or motivation, and it has taken me. For that, I had I'll always, after doing my work, I would think that these hours I have to be dedicatedly work for what I need. So I suggest everyone who want to join this program, even you have to take it as seriously, and with the dedication only you have to give your time to any program whichever you are joining, especially at least 4 to 5 hours you can give.
Wow, that's great. Okay. Anyways, guys. So I think if that is something, I mean, you guys are talking about such inspirational stuff already. So I think if you could delve deeper into your journey, could you tell us about the projects you guys worked on?
Yeah.
okay, ma'am. You proceed, Haifa.
Okay. A project, actually, since I was an MTech student, I was doing few machine learning projects. Okay, so that I had on my resume. But after joining AccioJob, they told me that since I want to join some software thing, you
Right.
want some software projects also. So they also helped us making a project where they have given us so many videos. And so many mentors who have helped us to do some basic level projects, some high level projects, which also had helped us to get into my resume.
Okay. Right. And what about you, Arya? What project did you
Uh,
work on?
like in my BTech, I have electronics, basically electronics project. So those were not very relevant here, but still in my resume there are one electronics. My major project was there, and AccioJob helped me in making my like there was a project which was the banking system, which was
Right.
purely based on Java, and that was the major project. And there was a minor project that was a classic snake game. So those two projects are enough for making your resume strong. And both projects were made by means AccioJob mentor helped us in making those two projects.
Right, got it. So I think these were, so you guys who can choose your own projects, right? So you guys can choose the projects you wish to work upon.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
We
like
can choose to work project. There is nothing like that. You have to do only these projects. Yeah.
Okay,
But
right.
what they do is they'll help us with source material. Like we don't know how to start, we don't know how to install some softwares or applications. So they'll help us how to. And when we had a live doubt class on projects also, if we stuck up with our own project, then mentors would help us to work on that and to solve those errors also.
Oh, right. That's great. All right. So I think Guys, since you've been telling us about the journey, could you give some advice to the students who are right now here in this pre-course and who would like to go ahead with the main batch? How can they, once they get into the main batch, how can they actually go ahead with the course so that they get their placement as such?
If there one advice I would like to give to a student is that just blindly follow them, and that is more than sufficient. Like you do not have to distract here and there, like the same thing is on YouTube or like. But why you are here is for focusly that they are teaching you the crisp thing, like it will be sufficient, more than sufficient for cracking whatever they are saying, like whatever your package you are dreaming, if you blindly following AccioJob, that is more than sufficient. And
That's right.
please don't get distracted here and there in the search of like more and more material. You will be lost in the ocean.
Oh, that's great, Arya. I mean, why I'm just saying that you're doing advertising for us. Thank you for that.
Ma'am, it is pleasure. Like,
Thank you so much. Okay. Anyways, Haifa, coming to you, what would
Yeah,
be
yeah.
your advice to the current students?
My advice to current student is first of all dedication. Second is do not lose your hope. And third is, as Arya told, to follow your job. Every day you have to follow your job, and you make sure that whatever task or whatever assignment or whatever work is assigned to you by job, try to do it on the same day. Don't try to what you say don't try to procrastinate, like don't tell I'll want to do it tomorrow, because if tomorrow, then it will just go on and you do not understand again where to start. Because job is a platform where they are what you say they are giving us source materials, where they are giving only those things which are helping for interviews, and also if we go and follow them, then it will help us.
Right, got it. So I think your advice has been that we have to stay focused on one course, right? On the
Yeah, one
curriculum
course.
itself.
Yeah, do not touch any other things.
Right, got it, guys. So I think another thing is, guys, could you tell us about, did you give the coding test? Arya, Haifa, did you give the coding test?
Yeah, yeah. I had given a coding test. That is, yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I used to give
Mm.
also.
Arya, did you give the coding test as well?
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible now.
Yeah, there was weekly contest was there
Okay.
in AccioJob.
Hmm.
I used to give that, and sometime my mentor used to say that solve lead code coding contest also weekly. There are bi-weekly and one is weekly. So I used to give those contests also.
All right, got it. So I think that is something. But then, did you give the coding test after the pre-course?
I frankly I don't remember, but there was a test.
Right.
After that only they select us.
Yeah, got it. So I think, and how has the test been? I think, guys, a lot of people have been asking about the coding test as well. So the coding test pattern keeps on changing, just so you guys know, because the coding test that was there during their time might not be the same that's there now. Because I know there are a lot of changes. So this might not be the best question to ask, though. Okay, anyways, guys. So I think there is one question I can end the session with to sum up. Guys, could you tell us more about the placements? How do the placements begin, and what sort of strategy did you follow for your placement, in your placement as well, to get the job that you wanted?
Actually, I think um, more than me or we making strategy, I think AccioJob had done that strategy. They had what you say. They had came up with this module D concept. Module D concept is the people who are ready to get placed, and these and people who came into module D are people who have performed good in their before modules. Yeah, okay. So we came into this module D. In module D, what will happen in AccioJob is the mentor, what he does is every day he takes up those questions which are usually asked in your interviews. Like, okay, so those questions, DSA problems will be solved. And secondly, there are some theory concepts will be brushed off. and they will give us source materials to revise those theory concepts once again. And other people who are going into interviews, those people also come and give their feedbacks. They give their feedbacks on questions, and they ask mentor to solve those DSA problems which were asked in their interviews. So by this, it has helped us to crack job. I feel like that.
Okay. What about you, Arya? What do you think? I mean, what was your placement strategy?
Like same as Haifa said that I became rigid with basics of DSA till July, starting from April. Then in August, I entered in the module D where there was a mix of the basic things like there were resume building session, and completely it was the placement based module only. They uh, drag you like there is many sessions related to resume and mix of all the topics which are related to the placements and SQL and all the computer networks and all those everything which is important for the placement
Right.
is there in module D.
Okay.
So basically, I one concept was mine. Concept was basically blindly follow them only, and that's how I cracked the placement.
Right, got it. So I think this would sum up the session for us. Thank you so much, guys. And yeah, and I think a lot many questions are still coming up. Guys, if you want, you can share the LinkedIn IDs. If you want, you can just share your LinkedIn IDs with the students as well. So I mean, that's totally up to you. That would be for the chat section itself. Right now, I'll just take up the session, and yeah, I'll just sum up here. So guys, we'll start with the class next. And since the alumni joined us, and thank you so much for giving us these insights and your valuable feedback for AccioJob as well. Again, guys, so I'll just take a few questions from the chat section now. So okay, guys, another thing is that, yeah, another thing for people asking. So what happens is that, guys, the code of the day bit is just that you just have to go on the website, and there would be, I should say, daily code of the day that would be given. It would be sort of a challenge for you, right? So whoever is going to the website, since you're a user who's just come to the website, so you've just gone ahead with the pre-course, you can go ahead, solve these code of the days on a regular basis, and they are time constrained. Remember that. So once you go ahead and solve these code of the days, you will be able to go ahead for the scholarship bid, become eligible for the same, and grab the same once you go ahead and solve all code of the days, right? So that is something that is only that happens, right? And on that note, I think I'll just call the instructor, and he can just take over from here. And yeah, Adarsh, are you here?
Yeah, I am here.
uh
Yeah.
Hi, Adarsh.
Yeah, hi, Shikha.
Right.
Yep.
Uh, 1 second.
Yeah.
Right. So, Adarsh, you can take up from here. And I think, guys, a
Yeah.
good evening for Adarsh as well.
So yeah, I think I'll start from here then, if you are done.
Right.
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
I think we're
Cool.
done.
Okay. Cool, guys. So I think we can start in 1 minute, maybe. Yeah, just get yourself geared up and we'll start with the session. Just give me 1 minute. I'll just open up my PPTs and then we can get started. 1 second. Yesterday's recording is not available. Okay. I think they will be made available. I think I'm
Yes,
not
Adarsh.
sure on that.
And also, can you please try checking the website again? The recording is available.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
so it's
I just,
available now.
yeah. If the students could check the website again, guys, you can check the website again and you will find the recordings there itself.
Sure. Shikha, can you just make the chats private so that students don't get distracted?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay. Cool, guys. So I think we can get started, right? So hopefully you had a good session yesterday and you learned something new yesterday, and we started off from the, exact basic or scratch, right? So the idea of today's session will also be pretty simple, right? Again, we'll try to build, block by block, step by step, so that you guys understand everything in the most holistic manner possible, right? So before I get started with today's session, if you look at this pre-course, right? So intro to programming and data types and variables, these are the two topics that we have covered in the first couple of classes, or let's say I had only taken one class for you all. So I will just recap in the first 5 minutes of what we did yesterday, an overview idea, and then we can get started with today's content. So yesterday, I just gave you guys an understanding of what you are going to do as a software developer. So we understood what is computer programming, what are some of the important components of a computer, what is a program, how do you write a program, in what language do you write your program, what language does a computer understand, and all these things, right? So, we started off from, the basics of computer, program, HLL, compiler, interpreter, algorithm, and all these fancy terms we had a look at, okay? And after we had a basic understanding of all these fundamental terms, we went on to look at the first Java program, that was the Hello World program. And when we wrote the Hello World program, we understood what is system.out.print, what is system.out.println, what is the difference between print and println. Okay. And then we also had a look and understanding at what comments are and why you should use proper comments in your code. Now, once we were clear with our first Java program, then we started introducing the concept of variables. Now, what did I tell you? Maybe I'll just open up my PPT as well so that I can just keep writing stuff here. Okay, just give me 1 second. Printf is a, format printing. Like you can print formatted strings there, but, we won't go into the details of those things now. Okay. So after that, we talked about variables, right? Okay, boss, whenever you write any computer program, you will have certain amount of data, right? You will have numeric data, you will have alphanumeric data, you will have decimal numbers, whole numbers, and all different types of data you will be dealing with. So where do you store your data? And then we had a discussion that, boss, variables contain data, or variables help you to store data, right? And then once we understood what variables are and that we are going to use variables extensively, I made you guys understand how do you declare and initialize a variable. Okay. But even before going to that, we had a look at the 8 primitive data types. And I'll just recollect the 8 primitive data types for you all. So when we deal with whole numbers, what are the data types, guys? The data types that we had a look at was byte. Then we had a short. Then we had an int, and then we had a long. These were the 4 data types when you are dealing with whole numbers, right? A byte reserves 1 byte of space, short reserves 2 bytes of space, int is 4 bytes, and long is 8 bytes. Okay. Similarly, for decimal numbers, we talked about float and double. And the only difference between a float and a double is a float is used for storing less precision numbers. Okay. So if you don't want high precision values, right? Say after the decimal digit, if you want, lesser number of digits and you don't watch that much amount of precision, then we can use a float data type. And what is the space that is reserved by the float data type? 4 bytes. Okay. And then we had a look at double. Double is basically used for storing decimal numbers. And if you need high precision, that is more number of digits after the decimal. And a double data type reserves 8 bytes of space in the memory. Okay. Now, once we were clear with float and double, then we went to a data type known as character or char, right? So a char data type is used for storing a single letter or a single character. So you basically write the character within single quotes. Okay. So any letter that you can type from the keyboard, you can store it in a char data type. And I had told you guys that internally, characters are going to be stored as their ASCII value. So every character has an ASCII code associated. Okay. For example, if I talk of the letter capital A, the ASCII of capital A is 65. The ASCII code of capital B is 66. The ASCII code of capital C is 67. Okay. What is ASCII value? Okay. ASCII full form, even I don't remember, that is American Standard Code of Information Interchange or something like that, right? but it's not important to remember the full form, right? What you want to understand is ASCII का मतलब क्या हुआ? ASCII code is simply a code that is associated with every letter. Okay, so letter A, capital A has a code of 65. Okay, capital B has a code of 66. Capital C has a code of 67. Likewise, similarly, small a has an ASCII code of 97. So think of the ASCII code like a number that is associated with every character. Okay, so whenever you store a character, internally we are storing the ASCII code corresponding to that character. Okay, which type of questions will be coming in coding test? We will have a look, right? We'll try to solve questions, but currently I think we are more in the logic building phase and getting the fundamentals clear. Okay, then after char we had a look at the Boolean data type. Okay, Boolean. Float ka size should be 4 bytes. Just confirm, right? I'm not very good with numbers. Just confirm it should be 4 bytes if I remember it correctly, right? Or you can correct me there. I don't remember. Okay. So after that, we discussed about the Boolean data type, right? And what was the Boolean data type? There will be certain character has 2 bytes space. Okay, so a char data type reserves 2 bytes of space in the memory. Okay, cool. Now, then we had a look at the Boolean data type. Boss, there will be certain data which can either have a true or a false. So if I ask you a question, right, is your name Adarsh? My answer will be yes or no. Okay, true or false. I cannot have a third option, right? So those kind of data which only have 2 values, either a true or a false, yes or a no, on or off, something like that. So we can store those type of data in a Boolean data type. And a Boolean data type reserves 1 bit of space in memory. Okay, because either you will be storing a 0 or you will be storing a 1. Okay, and once we had discussed that, okay, these are the different data types, and why do we need all these different data types? So that we can utilize memory in an efficient fashion, right? Yes, ASCII code also applies on special characters, right? So if you have a character @ hashtag, dollar, all these will be having a certain, ASCII code or a Unicode associated with this character for sure. Okay. So now once we saw that, okay, there are these 8 primitive data types available, I told you guys, why do we want to have these different data types? Because we want to utilize memory in an efficient fashion. So if you are dealing with very small numbers, you might, just reserve 4 bytes of memory. Okay, 4 bytes of space in memory. You can use an int data type, and you should not go for a long data type. Similarly, if you know that the numbers that you are dealing with is only between, let's say, 50 to 100, then you can use a byte data type. So that is what I am telling. In order to, utilize memory in an efficient fashion, we have these different data types. Ki boss, jitna space chahiye, utna hi reserve karo. Okay, cool. No, Boolean is not 1 byte. It should be 1 bit. Okay, because a Boolean data type will either store a 0 or a 1. So only 1 bit of information is present, right? So that is something about it. Okay. And after we discussed all these 8 primitive data types, I told you that string is a non-primitive data type. Now, what do I mean when I say that string is a non-primitive data type? Boss, you will write your string within double quotes. Okay. And think of it like a string is, any sentence, whatever you want, you can write in a string. So a string is basically made up of by concatenating multiple characters one after the other. You have characters, you place the characters one after the other and you get a string. So a string is a non-primitive data type or an object because it is made by combining multiple characters one after the other. Okay. But we'll go into details of strings a little bit later, right? Concatenation means एक के बाद एक लगा देना. Okay. So A के बाद एक और A, then D, then A, then R. Concatenation is just putting things one after the other. Okay. Joining things. Think of it like joining. Okay. Cool. So we were clear with all these different data types. Then we went on to the compiler and then we saw how can I, we saw the concept of declaration, initialization, and assignment. So how do I make a variable, guys? Very simple. So let's say int x is equal to 5. Okay. So sorry, it's just looking a little bit. Int x is equal to 5. So if you try to analyze this statement, there are 3 parts to it, right? The first part is this part, the left-hand side that you see, this is the declaration. What are you telling the compiler? Hey, compiler, can you please reserve space for me? How much space? Space sufficient to hold an integer data type. Okay. So first of all, you will have to tell the data type. Then you write the name of the variable, and then you are assigning a value to the variable. This equal to that you are seeing here now, this is the assignment operator. Okay. So what happens is, first of all, the compiler will reserve space for you in memory. How much space? Space sufficient to hold an integer data type. So 4 bytes of space will be reserved in the memory, and the name of this space or the label to this space will be X. So X will be pointing to this particular container. Okay. And then the value 5 will be assigned to this variable X. So 5 will be stored in this container. So the left part is declaration and the right part is initialization. Initialization means you are assigning the value for the first time to the variable. Okay. And later on, if you want, you can update the value of the variables, right? So if I do something like X is equal to X minus 2, what does it mean? Guys, the assignment operator works like this. First of all, the expression on the right hand side is evaluated, and then the answer is assigned to the variable on the left hand side. So when I say X is equal to X minus 2, first of all, evaluate the expression on the right hand side. What is the value of X? 5. 5 minus 2 is 3. So the answer of the right hand side, X minus 2, is nothing but 3. So this value 3 will be taken and that will be stored in the variable X. Okay. So the value of X will be updated and it will become 3. So that is how you can change the value that your variable is actually holding. Now, what does a literal mean? Okay. I use the term literal. A literal is just a fancy way of saying a constant, right? So when I say, let's say something like this, X is equal to 55. I am defining what is the value stored in X, right? And this is a constant number, right? 55. So I say this is an integer literal. This 55 is not a variable. This 55 is a constant value that I am storing inside the variable X. Later on, you can update the value of the variable. That is fine. But what is 55? 55 is an integer constant. Okay. So we say that 55 is nothing but an integer literal. Literal is just a way of saying that it's a constant. Okay. So guys, you can do a declaration and initialization in separate lines also. Okay. So you can do something like this also. Int y. This is just declaration. And then later on, you can do your initialization and then you can, change the value of the variable. Okay. But it is very important to note two things. Declaration should always be done before initialization. You cannot use a variable before declaring it, because you have to reserve space in memory before you are able to use that. And similarly, you cannot declare the same variable twice. Okay. You cannot declare the same variable twice. That is also wrong. Okay. So we got an idea of all these things. And I also told you a special case, right? Let's say you have something like this. Long, let's say C is equal to a very long number, right? So what happens is, whenever a compiler reads a whole number, now it reads it like an integer. So even though you have reserved the space for a long data type, the compiler will read this number and it will tell, okay, 876511168. That is a very large number and I cannot store it inside an integer. Okay, I cannot read this big number as an integer. So it will complain. So that is where we wrote a capital L or a small l at the end of the literal, so that I can tell my compiler, hey compiler, read this number like a long, and then you have to store the number inside this variable C, which is sufficient of sufficient space to hold a long data type. Okay. So this was pretty much our discussion, and there was a similar concept for float and double that we had discussed. Okay. So guys, is everyone clear with yesterday's class? Before I start with today's topic, literal or ASCII एक ही बात है. Literal is a constant, right? You can have a string literal, you can have an integer literal and anything like that, right? ASCII is something that is just specific for characters. Okay. Okay. The recording will be made available. You can check the, platform once again. It should be there as I got informed. But yeah, we can have a look at that a little bit later. Okay. Cool. So that was what we did in yesterday's class. So now what is the agenda for today's class, right? So let me write down the agenda for today's class so that we have an idea. Please tell us how to find the ASCII value. You can Google up, there is an ASCII table, right? And you don't have to remember the ASCII value of all the characters. You just have to remember the ASCII value of capital A and small a. That should do the job for you in 99.99% cases. Okay. Capital L or small l is the same thing, right? You can use any one of them. So now guys, let's focus on the agenda for today's class. So first of all, today, what we are going to do is, first of all, we will talk about the scanner. Okay. So we will be interacting with the user and we will be taking inputs from the user. And in doing that, we will learn about the scanner class. Okay. Yes. You can initialize the same variable again and again. Declaration can be done only once. Okay. So first of all, we will talk about the scanner class. Okay. That is how you can interact with the user and take inputs. Okay. Now, once we are done with the scanner class, we will see how to take inputs from the user. Now, once we are clear with that, then we will talk about operators. And inside operators, we will talk about arithmetic operators. We will talk about logical operators. We will talk about relational operators, right? So I'll just write here, we will be talking about arithmetic operators. We will be talking about logical operators. And we will be talking about relational operators. Okay. Now, once we are aware of operators, then we will talk something about typecasting. Okay, typecasting. And in this, we will cover both implicit and explicit typecasting. And once we are done with this, then we will go on to conditionals. That is what we want to start today. Okay. And meanwhile, guys, I will also, solve some assignments with you all as and how time permits, right? So that you are clear with the assignment part also. Okay. So these are the roughly 4 topics that I want to cover. So we have approximately 2 hour 15 minutes class today. So let's get started without any further delay so that we are able to understand the concepts well and can apply the same in code. Okay. So let's get started with the first topic for today. That is the scanner class. Okay. Now, till yesterday, whatever variables that I had taken, right? I was hard coding the values for them. Okay. I had a variable int x, I assigned it the value 55. I made a variable int y, I gave it the value 66. Okay. I was hard coding the value for the variables. Okay. I didn't ask you that, hey, Anurag, what value do you want to store in the variable? I did not ask for your input, right? I randomly assigned the value myself. Whatever came in my mind, I assigned the value to the variable. But whenever you write any application or whenever you write any code, you need to interact with the user. Okay, you should take input from the user, right? So let's say if I want to build a very, very small basic application, I want to build a calculator. Okay, I want to build a calculator that can take 2 numbers and can give me the summation of the 2 numbers. So boss, try to understand. If I have to make a calculator, my calculator should interact with the user. The user should supply me the 2 numbers and then only I will add the 2 numbers and return the answer to the user. Do you agree with me? ऐसा थोड़ी होगा कि आप ही हार्ड कोड कर दो int number 1 equal to 100, int number 2 equal to 200, print number 1 plus number 2. That won't work, right? If you are developing a practical calculator, you should be asking the user, please enter the first number, please enter the second number. And then after you have got both the numbers, then only you will perform addition. Hard code means, okay, I'm not writing in the upper right corner. Sorry, I was not aware. Okay. So what I want you guys to understand is, till now, I had, assigned the value to the variable myself. Okay. I had assigned constant values to the variable. Okay. Int y is equal to 66, something like that. Y is equal to 78. So all these are constant values that I am assigning myself. But what I am telling is, in a normal application that you write, we want to interact with the user and take inputs from the user as well. So how do I interact with the user and take inputs? And that is where we learn about the scanner. Okay. So let me write what is the scanner and let me help you guys understand it in the most simplest fashion as possible. Okay. So guys, think of it like a scanner is nothing but a remote. Okay. A scanner is nothing but an object. Object क्या हुआ? Object is nothing but think of it like the scanner is a remote. आप लोग के घर में टीवी है. Everybody operates a TV, a refrigerator. Forget refrigerator. Everybody operates a television, right? and you have a remote of the television, right? So whenever you operate the remote, you have buttons on the remote, and you can, increase the volume, decrease the volume, change the channels. All these things can be done using a remote. So now what I am telling is, imagine a scanner is nothing but a remote. A scanner is nothing but a remote. And using this remote, you will be able to take inputs from the user. Okay. So boss, there will be many buttons on the remote. Okay. There will be many buttons on the remote. Okay. One button can be used to take the input of an integer. Another button can be used to take the input of a, let's say, double. Another button can be used to take the input of a float, something like that. So think of it like a scanner is nothing but a remote, and there are many buttons available on this remote, right? So whenever you want to take the input of a particular data type, you just have to press the button. Let's say there is a button in which you can take a string as input, right? So let's say if I want to take an integer as input, I will just press this button, and my scanner will read an integer from the keyboard, and it will, give it to me. So that is what a scanner is. Now let's try to understand how does a scanner actually work. Okay. So what we generally do is, you will see this line of code written everywhere, right? Scanner SC is equal to new scanner, and then within brackets we have system.in. We will go to code also and do it in the compiler as well. But let us try to understand the meaning of this line in detail, right? See, I won't be going into what is an object, what is the reference to an object, what is object-oriented programming, right? Abhi, it is too early to discuss all those things. But how do you understand this line? You have to understand this line like this. The boss, see, first of all, you had, देखो ऐसे करते थे ना, int x is equal to 5, right? So x is nothing but a variable, right, of integer data type. So similarly, guys, try to understand. SC is nothing. SC is the reference to a scanner object. SC is nothing but a reference to a scanner object. So think of it like this, that ye jo remote hai na, SC is pointing to this remote. The name of this remote is SC. So I am telling you, there is a scanner by the name of SC, or SC is a reference to this particular scanner object. Okay. So SC is nothing. SC is pointing to a remote. SC is pointing to a scanner remote. Okay. Now this right part, what does it do? New scanner bracket mein system.in. So this is going to create the remote for us. Okay. See, the left part is just telling you ki boss, SC is a variable. Simple. You can understand it like SC is a variable, right? SC is nothing but the reference to a scanner, right? And this right part will create the scanner remote for you. When you say new scanner, now you are going to create a new remote of the type scanner. So a new remote will be created. And what does system.in tell you? That this remote will be able to take inputs from the standard input of the system. So boss, this scanner object is sufficient or is capable to take inputs from the standard input of the system, right? And SC is a reference to this scanner object. Okay. So guys, once again, I will repeat, new scanner system.in. What does it do? It is going to create a remote for you. It will create a scanner object for you. And when I say new scanner bracket mein system.in, it means that this remote is capable to take inputs from the standard input of the system, that is from the keyboard. Okay. And then I am telling what is on the left hand side, scanner SC. So SC is nothing but SC is a reference to this particular remote. Think of it like SC is the name of the remote. Okay. System here means your keyboard, right? The standard input is via the keyboard. Okay. Now, so that is how the situation is. Okay. And now, once you have the access to this remote, right? The name of the remote is SC, and this remote is already created. So this remote is going to help you to take inputs from the user. So there will be many buttons on this remote, right? So let's say there is a button whose name is next int. And when you press this button, it will help you to read the input of an integer from the terminal. Okay. So let's go to the compiler so that we are able to understand all these things in a better fashion, right? And we are able to apply these also. I am pretty sure these have been already done and Tushar must have covered the input taking part, but I think I'll just briefly touch upon all the important aspects of that once again, right? Okay. So, and this one line, guys, see, SC के जगह आप कोई और name भी use कर सकते हो. What is SC? SC is just the reference to your object, right? It is the name of the remote that you are creating. You can call your name remote anything. SC, scan, A, B, C, D, whatever you want, right? But I will be using the variable name SC. Okay. So what do I do, guys? Scanner SC. Okay. So I am telling that boss, SC is nothing. SC is the reference to a scanner. SC is the reference to a scanner object. It is just pointing to my remote. Now, where is the remote? I need to create the remote is equal to new scanner. This new keyword creates the object. Okay, so new keyword hota hai na, this is going to create the object for me, or it is going to create the remote for me. Okay, so new scanner, a new scanner remote will be created, and this remote is responsible for taking inputs from the standard input of the system. Okay, so this right part creates a new scanner object which will take inputs from the system.in. That is the standard input of the system. And what is the name of this remote? SC is basically a variable which is pointing to this particular remote. SC is a reference to the scanner object. It is pointing to the scanner object. Okay. So now my remote is ready and the name of the remote is SC. Now I want to use the remote, but how do I use the remote? I need to know the different buttons in the remote, right? The different methods that are associated with the remote or with the object. So that is where we come to the first function that we are going to learn about, which is nothing but nextInt. So nextInt is a function that is used to take the input of an integer from the keyboard. Okay, let me give you an example. Let's say I'm telling int x is equal to SC. What is the name of the scanner object, guys? SC. So SC dot nextInt. So just imagine it like this. The boss, SC is my remote. I am pressing the button nextInt, which is present on the remote. So as soon as I say sc.nextInt, it will take the input of an integer from the keyboard and it will store that integer in the variable x. Okay. And then what I will do, I will print the value of this variable x. Okay. Now let me try to show you how this actually works. Okay. So when I run the program, the compilation has failed, right? The compiler is complaining to me. And what is the compiler complaining? It is complaining cannot find symbol scanner. Compiler will say, boss, I don't know what is a scanner. I don't know what is a scanner, right? And see guys, this is very natural. Dekho, see, I am telling you there is a scanner, right? Now somebody can write here a printer. Okay. See, the thing to understand is how will a compiler know what is a scanner? A scanner is a remote or an object, right? How does a compiler know what is a scanner? See, जिन्होंने Java language लिखा है ना, the people who have developed the Java language, they knew that taking input will be a very common operation. Everybody will be needing to take inputs from the keyboard. So they have already written the code for scanner. The boss, there is a scanner code already written and you can use that scanner to take inputs from the user. But when I write scanner here, the compiler complains to me, I don't know what a scanner is. The reason is that all the code that is written for the scanner, the compiler doesn't know about that code. So here we come to the concept of packages. Okay. So what we have to do is, guys, try to think of it like this. क्या हुआ है? See, a package. What is a package, guys? Think of a package like a folder. Okay. Now think of it like this. कि आप एक school में हो and you are making a project, right? And what do? Whenever you make a project, you have a folder and inside that folder you have multiple files. ठीक है? आप लिखते हो. Let's say index का file है एक आपका. Then you have a file for, let's say you have a file for a different topic. You have the file for a different topic. You have the file for conclusion and all these things, right? So do you agree? Whenever you work on a project, you have a folder and you have multiple files in that folder which tell you important things, right? कुछ ऐसा सोचो guys. Let's say you have been given an assignment to make a project on history of India, right? So the name of the project will be History of India. right? And there will be multiple files inside this, right? In one word file, you can have about the revolt of 1857, okay, the battle of 1857, okay? In a second file, you can have all the information about, the freedom movement of 1947. In another file, you can have information about the Kargil war, right? So what I want you guys to understand is whenever you are making any project, okay, you have a folder, and inside that folder, you have multiple files that consist of important information. Now, if somebody is outside your project domain, how will he know about the Kargil war? When he has access to this particular file, won't he get all the information about the Kargil war? When the Kargil war was held, who won it, what happened? Do you agree? भैया आपने एक जगह पे सारे फाइल्स को स्टोर करके रखा है. How do I know the details about the Kargil war if I don't have access to this particular file? So that is a very, very similar thing that happens in Java. So we have the concept of packages. A package is nothing but a folder. And inside that folder, there are certain files that people have written beforehand only. And you can import those files and you can use them. So what we do is we write a statement here like import java.util.star. So what does it mean? Let me try to understand. Okay. So import, see what I'm telling, can you import from Java's standard library? Okay. There is a Java standard library here. So from the standard library of Java, there is a util package. Okay. So inside the Java standard library, there is a util package. So can you import all the files from the util package? Okay, so think of it like this, guys. That boss, there is a util package. In short, if you have to understand it simply, a util is nothing but a folder. And inside this util folder, there will be many files, right? One file will be of scanner. One file will be of, let's say, printer, whatever, right? Multiple files will be there. Now, if somebody has to use the scanner, he has to get access to this particular file. जब मेरे को इस फाइल का एक्सेस मिलेगा, then only I will know na what a scanner is, what all a scanner can do. So that is what I am telling my compiler कि hey compiler, from Java standard library there is a util package, and from the util package can you import star. Star means import all the files. Star का मतलब होता है import all files. तो मैं बोल रहा हूं inside the standard library of Java there is a util package. And inside the util package, can you import star? That is, can you import all the files that are present inside the util package? Okay. Java.util.star matlab inside the util package, import all the files that are present inside that util package folder. Okay. So now when I write this statement, what will happen is all the files that are present in the util package, they will get imported. And now the compiler is aware of what the scanner is because the file scanner is present inside the util package itself. So now when you write scanner sc is equal to new scanner, the compiler won't complain to you. It will tell, okay, I know what a scanner is because I have access to the file which has all the information about the scanner. Okay. If you just want to import the scanner file, you can do like this, import java.util.scanner. So what I am telling, inside the Java standard library, there is a util package, right? And inside the util package, there is a scanner file. So please import that particular file. So in this case, only the scanner file will be imported from the util package. But generally, it's a good practice to do import java.util.star so that all the relevant files that are present in the util package, they are imported. Okay. So hopefully, guys, you understand the meaning of a package. And then you understand what is the meaning of this line, import java.util.star. Is this making sense? I need some responses, right? Otherwise, it seems, yeah, star includes scanner. So मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ? Star क्या बोल रहा है? Star is importing all the files. So the scanner file will also be included, right? Okay, cool. So now let us try to run it and then we will try to understand how it goes. Okay. So now when I run this code, you see that my cursor is blinking, right? So what happens is, first of all, I have created the scanner object. Okay, the remote is ready for you to use, right? And now when you come here, int x is equal to sc.nextInt. So here my cursor is waiting because see guys, you have pressed the button nextInt on the remote. And so now scanner bolta hai, boss, you have called the nextInt function. So now my job is to read an integer. Okay. So if you see the cursor is blinking, it is waiting for me to give an integer as input. So now what will happen? Now what will happen? Let's say I type the number 456 and I press enter. The moment I press enter, what will happen? The moment I press enter, let's say change the number to 45 only, right? The moment I press enter, what will happen? NextInt will read this integer 45 from the terminal and it will store this integer 45 inside the variable x. And then in the next line, I will print the value of x, which is again 45. Okay. So if I just press enter, you will see that 45 is printed in the second line. Okay. So what has happened, guys? The moment I pressed enter here, sc.nextInt started working. वो बोला अच्छा मेरे को integer दिख रहा है. So it will read this integer 45 and it will store this integer in the variable x. And then I'm printing the value of x, that is 45. Okay. So how does nextInt work, guys? NextInt क्या करता है? In very simple terms, if you want to understand, nextInt will read an integer from the keyboard, or it will read an integer from the terminal, whatever. Okay. So nextInt will read an integer until it gets a new line character or it encounters a space. इसका मतलब है nextInt will read a number, वो एक integer read करेगा, and when will it stop? It will stop the moment it gets a space or the moment it encounters the new line character. So nextInt will read an integer and then it will stop the moment it gets a new line character or a space. Guys, is my voice audible? I am not sure. Some people are writing it's breaking. The network seems good enough. Okay, it's audible. Great. So, audible. Kabhi kabhi break hoti hai. Okay, let's see. Let me know if it happens once again. I'm not sure, right? So what happens is nextInt क्या कर रहा है? nextInt का job है एक integer read करना. Okay, I'll just tell you in Hindi also so that it's comfortable. So nextInt, what it is doing is it is going to read an integer, and after reading the integer, when will it stop? It will stop the moment it gets a space or it gets a new line character. Okay, then it is going to stop. So let me help you with an example. Let's say I'm taking two integers as input. Int y is equal to sc.nextInt. Okay. And then I want to print x and y both. Okay. Now, let's see. I press the run button. Okay. So guys, my cursor is waiting. Can you tell me at what particular line the cursor is waiting? Can anybody help me? At what particular line? किसके input का wait हो रहा है? I want integers, right? So I am waiting at line number 14. I'm waiting at line number 14, right? So let's say I type an integer 45. Okay. The moment I press enter, what will happen? sc.nextInt. देखो guys, अब जब enter press करते हो ना, that means you are done typing the input for that line. So the moment I pressed enter, what happened? See, nextInt को एक integer मिल गया. तो क्या हुआ? nextInt will read this integer 45. Okay. And when will it stop? It reads the integer 45 and then it gets a new line character. The moment it gets a new line character, it will stop and the number 45 is stored in the variable x. Okay. Now we come to line number 15 and again the cursor is blinking. That is, again it is waiting for an integer. Okay, कि boss एक और integer मेरे को चाहिए. ठीक है. So now what do I do? Let's say I give 54. Okay. I'm just giving you an idea, right? So I give 54 and then I press enter. So the moment I will press enter, what will happen? I have given the input for line number 2. So nextInt will start working. It will read the integer 54 and the moment it goes to a new line character, it will stop. 54 will be stored in the variable y. Okay. And then we will print the value of x and y, which is 45 and 54 respectively. So let's see. Good. So is everyone able to follow what is happening here? How did I take? Yes. See, the remote is one only. आपको बहुत सारे scanner objects नहीं बनाने हैं. एक single remote से you can press the button multiple times to take multiple inputs. Right? Okay. Now let's have a look at a different way. Okay. Now what you can also do is, see, ultimately this program is expecting two integers, right? So let me do it like this. 56, okay, space 887. I am giving two integers separated by space. Okay. Guys, why has the program not worked until now? You can tell now, hey Adarsh, you have already written 2 integers. Why is the program not running? Why it is waiting? Why it is waiting? Why it is waiting? Can anybody help me? I have written 2 integers. Why is it still waiting? Because I have not yet pressed enter. आपको enter तो press करना होगा ना. When you press enter, then only you are done with the input for that particular line. अभी मैं चाहूँ तो I can clean this line also, and I can, you know, give some different values. Again, I can clean it up, right? So the moment you press enter, then only the compiler knows that, okay, you have given the input for that line. Now the remote will start working and it will read the inputs. Okay. So 45 space 887. Let's give this. Now the moment I press enter, let's see what happens. 45 and 887 will be printed. So let us try to understand, guys, what has happened in this particular code and how it has worked. So I had given 45 space 887. So what happened? The moment I press enter, what will happen? This first sc.nextInt will work, right? The moment I press enter, the compiler will know, okay, you have given the input for line number 1. So this sc.nextInt will start reading the integer. NextInt ko kya karna hai? NextInt has to read the integer. So it will start reading the integer. So it will read the integer 45. Okay. And after reading the integer, it encounters the space character here. I am writing space like this, right? So the moment the sc.nextInt gets a space, it will stop. It will stop. And ye kya karega? It will store this integer 45 in the variable x. See, I will tell it once again. The moment you press enter, sc.nextInt will start working. It will read this integer 45, encounters the space character, it will stop. It will stop here. It will stop here at this space, right? And it will then store this integer 45 that it has read inside the variable x. Okay? Now you come to line number 15 and there is another sc.nextInt. Now, instead of waiting for me to give another input, it just took 887. Why? Because see, you have called sc.nextInt and there is already a number waiting for you in this particular line. So what did I tell you? See, currently you are standing on a blank. Okay. So what does sc.nextInt do, guys? NextInt will read an integer and then it will stop when it encounters a blank or a new line character. So you are standing on a blank. sc.nextInt kya bolega? I don't read blanks, right? I read integers. So it will skip the blank. It will skip the blank. Okay. And then it will read this integer 887. Then it encounters the new line character and it will stop. So this integer 887 is read by this sc.nextInt and it will store the number 887 in the variable y. Okay. Now you are printing x and y. So 45 and 887 are printed in 2 different lines. Okay. Is this part making sense? Okay. Let's try something else. Let's see what happens here. The better you understand this now. Guys, can anybody help me? Can anybody help me? Now I am, see, just remember my words very carefully. Next int का काम क्या है? Integer read करना. It will read an integer. तो read तो पक्का ही करेगा वो integer. It will read an integer for sure. It will read an integer and it will stop the moment it gets a new line character or a space. Okay. But its job is to read an integer and then only it is going to stop. Okay. So let us try to understand what happens. Let's press enter. So see, you just got 456 and 98888 as output. So what has happened? Let us try to understand. And this will clear a lot of your doubts that you are having. Okay. So see guys, the moment I pressed enter, see what were the numbers? 456. Then you had some number of spaces. Okay. Then you had 988. Let's say 988. Okay. Then again you had one space and you had 78. Okay. The moment I pressed enter, this sc.nextInt will work. Okay. This nextInt will work and it will read an integer. So what it will read? It will read the integer 456 and then it encounters this space and it will stop here. Do you agree? So this nextInt reads the number 456 and it is going to store this number 456 in the variable x. Is everyone clear till here? And you are standing on this space. Now what happens? Next you come to line number what? 15, which is int y is equals to sc.nextInt. Now again you call a nextInt, so it is going to read an integer. Guys, integer दिख रहा है क्या इस line में और? Yes, you are seeing integer. So what it will do? The next int will see that currently I'm standing on a space and my job is to read an integer. So it is going to skip all the spaces. Next int को एक integer read करना है. It has to read an integer. So currently it sees that next int sees that you are standing on a space. So it will say, hey boss, my job is to read an integer and then stop at a space or new line character. But I am initially standing on a space. So I will skip the spaces and then I will read an integer. So all the spaces that you see here are skipped. And then this next int will read the number 988 and then it encounters a space and then it will stop. So this next int is going to read this number 98888 and it will store this number in the variable y. So variable y has the number 98888 and now you are standing on this space. And now guys, see what is happening. You print the value of x and you print the value of y. So 456 and 9888 is printed. Now, what happens with this input? There is no next int to read this integer. So this integer 78 will never be read by the scanner, right? यहाँ पे अगर एक और next int होता ना, if you had one more next int, then this number 78 would have been read. So think of it now, there are 3 numbers, but there are only 2 next int. So only 2, the first 2 integers are going to be read. And this third input will just be discarded. Okay? Yes, this logic is written in the next int function. Correct. So guys, just a quick question for you all and then we will move forward. Can anybody quickly tell me the output for this? Quickly, guys. Do you think the 2 numbers will be read fine? Yes or no? And after this, my job is done. Yes, they will be read fine. Why? Just apply the same logic that I told you. The moment you press enter, the first next int will start working. And what is the job of next int? To read an integer. Ab next int dekhta hai ki I am standing on spaces, but I have to read an integer. So it will skip all these spaces in the front. It will read the integer 15. And after reading 15, when it encounters the space, it will stop. Okay. Guys, is the voice breaking for everyone? I'm not sure. It's no. So William, there might be some issue at your end because people are getting the voice as clear, right? So I am not sure. It's okay. It's coming fine. Beach में break हो रहा है. Okay. I'm not sure. Maybe just have a look at your connection if it's giving you problem. I'm not sure why it's breaking. कभी break होता है. Okay. I'll also check my connection once again if that helps. But yeah, let me check what can be done. Okay. Great. So I think everybody understands how nextint works. Okay. And nextint is basically used for taking the input of an integer. Okay. So we understood. Okay, I'll speak slowly then, right? So we understood how to read an integer from the keyboard. Okay. Now, similarly, guys, once you have understood the nextint function, similarly, there are other buttons associated with the scanner object. Okay. As you read an integer, similarly, there is a function next long. There is a method next long. And this is used to read long numbers from the terminal. Okay. So let me give you an example. Long L is equal to sc dot next long. Okay. And we'll just print the value of L. And I'll comment out these lines of code so that we don't always see X and Y also getting printed. Okay. So guys, next long is also going to work very, very similarly, right? Next long is going to read a long number from the terminal. And when it is going to stop, it will stop the moment it encounters a new line character or a space. Okay. So you will see people talking like this also. Ki boss, new line character or space. This is a delimiter. Delimiter. A new line character or a space is a delimiter. Delimiter, right? Delimiter. Cool. Why do we call it as a delimiter? Because the moment you encounter a new line character or a space, the next long or next int or next boolean, whatever we see now, they are going to stop. Okay. Cool. So let me just give it very, very quickly. See, these are just very, very fundamental basics, right? What is delimiter? Delimiter aisa samjho that is a breaking point, right? कि आप input ले रहे हो, you are reading an integer. When do you stop? You will stop the moment you come to a space or a new line character. That is a, delimiter. Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay. Let's quickly try to run it. Acha guys, now when you are taking the input of a long from the keyboard like this, you don't have to specify capital L or small l. Why? Because I have already pressed the next long button, right? So my scanner already knows that whatever number it is going to read, that has to be a long number. It has to read the number like a long. Okay. So it will read this number, store it in the variable L, and you can print the value of L. Okay. Dekho, delimiter, I'll just repeat once again. What I was telling is, when you put numbers like this, 75 space 88, and then you go to a new line, right? You press enter. So enter is nothing but a new line character. So what I am telling is space and new line character, these are delimiters. Okay. So next int is going to read an integer until it gets to a new line character or it gets to a space. The moment you reach a space or a new line character, next int, next long, next double, all these are going to stop. And that is why we say that it is a delimiter. Okay. Can comma be a delimiter? Not in this case, right? In different cases it can be, but not in this case. Okay, cool. So this is how a next long is working, and you don't have to specify a capital L or a small l. Okay. Now, similar to next long, how do you take the input of a floating point number or a double number, right? No, it's not about 3 digits, Ravi. It's about the range of numbers, right? How many bytes you are reserving. So that is that decides whether a number is long or not, right? The range of the number. It's nothing to do with the number of digits. Okay. So now let's see, how do I take the input of a floating point number or a decimal number? Instead of 1, can we put any variable name? Yes. You can put any name, right? You can put whatever you want, right? SC, long, number, whatever, right? Any variable name, it's your wish, right? Okay, cool. No, Rakesh, instead of space, you cannot type, comma or dot. Okay, nahi kar sakte. Cool. So now let's see, how do I take the input of a decimal number? And it is very, very similar, right? So the two methods that we have to learn are next float, and as the name suggests, next float is going to be used to read a floating point number from the terminal. Okay, you don't have to write a capital F or a small f at the end, right? And similarly, you will have a function next double, and this is going to read a double number or a double number from the terminal. Okay, cool. So let's quickly have a look at this. Double D. Yes, this is capital. Double ka D is capital. Long ka L is capital, right? It is case sensitive. So you have to write exactly like this. If you do a small I in next int, it won't work, right? Okay. So sc dot next double. And now if I just want to print, I'm just showing you quickly. You can experiment more around these things. These are pretty fundamental concepts. Okay. So you will read the next double. What it will do, it will read this double. It will read this number, decimal number, as a double, and it is going to store this in the variable D. So when I press enter, D mein ye store ho gaya and it is printed back. Okay. Now, similarly, guys, once you are clear with next float and next double, let us go and see how do you take the Boolean as input. So as you can guess, the function used for taking a Boolean as input is next Boolean, right? And how does it work? Let's see. Boolean S is equal to sc dot next Boolean. Okay. And let's then print the value of S. Okay. Okay, so a Boolean data type can hold a true or a false, right? So whenever you give an input, your input should be either true or false, right? So let's say you are writing 2 here and press enter, right? So sc.next Boolean will read this and it is going to store this value 2 inside the variable S. And when you print the value of S, again true is going to be printed. Okay, so press enter, see 2 is printed. Okay, so Boolean is going to read the input of a true or a false, right? So true or false will be read as input, and it will be stored inside the Boolean variable S, and then you can print that S later on. Okay, so this is how we take the input of a Boolean. Okay, So now guys, you understand how to take the input of whole numbers, how to take the input of decimal numbers, how to take input of Boolean. Okay. The only two things that are left is how to take the input of a character and how to take the input of a string, which we will discuss in due course of time. Okay. Can you also define true by 1 or 0 as false? No, you cannot do, right? You see, internally they are stored as 1 or 0, right? But when you actually, if you want to give input like this, then you cannot, right? Let's see. Let's try. See, the best thing is that you have a compiler. See, exception aa gaya. See, boss, it cannot read this one. Next Boolean is not, trained enough to read this one and store it inside the Boolean variable. Okay. It is throwing an error. See, boss, next Boolean cannot read this number 1. Input mismatch ho gaya hai. It can only read a true or a false. Okay. Cool. So hopefully, guys, this part is clear to everyone, right? Capital 2. Okay, good. See, I will highly encourage everyone, whenever you do now, just whenever you are getting these doubts, right? Capital hoga, T small hoga, just try to do it, right? See, it doesn't care whether T is capital or small. It is going to read this 2 as input and it is going to store the value in the variable S. And then you print the value of S, it is printing true with T as small. Okay, cool. Okay, great. So now guys, we are clear with how to take inputs from the user. Okay. And we are going to solve certain problems on this also so that you are more and more clear and familiar. But before I go to certain problems, right, what I want you guys to understand is something about operators. Okay, let me go back to the agenda. So the scanner class is pretty much clear to all of you, right? And how to take inputs from the user, that part is clear. Now let us go and talk something about operators. Again, it is very simple topic, and if you pay attention, you will understand it in one go and it will make your life very, very simple. Okay. So let's come to the concept of operators. How to read string. We'll come to that, right? I won't focus on how to read a string at this point of time. If time permits, I will tell you at the end, but not now. Okay, string is not in the agenda in the pre-course, right? But if needed, we'll tell you later. Okay. Now let's come to operators, the concept of operators, right? So guys, in maths, right, when you were solving problems in maths, all of us came across these operators: plus, minus, into, divide. All these mathematical operators were there. So using operators, you can perform certain operations on your data. So similarly, when you talk of programming, right, there are many operators in the Java language. So let us talk about some operators of the Java language, right? And when I talk of operators, I will first of all talk of the mathematical operators that are present in Java. Then we will talk about relational operators. Okay. And then at the end, we will talk about logical operators. It's a very, very simple topic. And if you follow, you will understand it very cleanly. Okay. So let's talk about mathematical operators. So similar to plus, minus, into, divide that you had in maths, similar mathematical operators exist in Java, right? So you can use a plus operator to add two numbers in Java. Okay. Similarly, a minus operator is there, which is going to perform subtraction. Okay. For multiplication, we have the star. Okay. If you see on your numpad, there is a star. So a star is used for performing multiplication. And for division, the symbol is this slash, right? This slash is the symbol for division. So plus, minus, into, divide, these are present in the Java programming language as well. Okay. Now, after this, with plus, minus, into, divide, there are two other operators or one other operator that I want to talk about. There is an operator, this percentage, right? But this is not the percentage that you see in mathematics, right? In programming, this percentage is the modulo operator. I'll write the name. This is the modulo operator. So what does it do, guys? Let's say I ask you 57 modulo 9. So it will tell you when you divide 57 by 9, what is going to be the remainder? So the division, this modulo operator basically gives you the remainder when you are dividing two numbers. So 57 modulo 9 is going to be 3. Because when you divide 57 by 9, The quotient is 6 and the remainder is 3. So 57 modulo 9 is going to give you 3. So modulo operator gives you the remainder when you divide two numbers. Okay. Now, one very interesting thing that I want you guys to understand here is what happens in programming is if you do a 7 divided by 2, if you do 7 divided by 2 in normal maths, you will get the answer as 3.5. Everyone agrees? But in programming, if you do a 7 by 2, then what happens is you are dividing an integer with another integer, right? So integer by integer gives you the answer as integer only. Okay. See, you are dividing an integer with an integer. So you will get the answer as an integer. It is a floor division that is happening. So what do I say when I say this? When you divide 7 by 2, the quotient is 3 and the remainder is 1. So this division operator will be giving us the quotient. The boss 7 by 2 is nothing but 3. It is 3, right? Because if the two operands are integers, then the output will also be integer. Floor मतलब क्या हुआ? देखो आंसर आना चाहिए था 3.5, but you will round it down to the nearest integer. The answer is rounded down to the nearest integer. So the nearest integer down में क्या है? 3 है. So you are going to the floor. ऐसा समझो guys कि this is the floor. Okay, in any structure. आप अभी room में बैठे हो, right? Floor is below me and ceiling is above me. So if I get the answer as 3.8 and I am telling you take it to the floor, so the answer will be 3. If I ask you round it up to the ceiling, then the answer will be 4, right? So that is what I say when I say a ceiling or floor division, right? So whenever you are dividing two integers, let's say 7 by 3, my answer will be 2, okay? Because 7 by 3 is 2 point something, which will be rounded down to 2, okay? So whenever you are dividing two integers, the output will always be an integer. That is very, very important for you to understand. That is the fundamental difference between maths ka division and programming ka division. Okay. Again, if you do something like this, 7.0 by 3, then your answer will be proper. Okay, then your answer will be proper. Why? Let me tell you the reason in a little bit. Okay. Now, guys, help me with one question. I asked you one question. Okay? If I give you a question, forget programming, forget Java, forget you are in a lecture. If somebody comes and asks you, hey, can you tell me what is 4 plus 5.7? Can anybody quickly give me the answer? छोड़ दो, programming भूल जाओ. In real life, somebody has asked you what is 4 plus 5.7. I am pretty sure nobody is going to give the answer as 9. You will tell the answer as 9.7. Boss, real life में अगर आपसे कोई पूछेगा what is 4 plus 5.7, if you are giving the answer as 9, then you are wrong. And everybody will think that you are a fool, right? Which you are not, right? So 4 plus 5.7, you are going to give a very precise answer that 4 plus 5.7 is 9.7. You won't give the answer as 9 or you won't give the answer as 10. So guys, what have you done? Try to understand. This first operand was an integer and this second operand was a double. So in real life, what have you done? My first data type was an integer and the second data type was a double. And I know that double is more precise than an integer. Double has a greater precision than an integer. So if I convert this double to an integer, I will lose some amount of data. Do you agree with me or not? A double can contain more data as compared to an integer. It is more precise as compared to an integer. So if I convert this double into an integer, I will lose some data, which I don't want to do. So what have you done? Automatically, when you did the addition now, automatically you have done something like this. Does everyone agree with me? I'm just doing very practical maths. आपने mentally किया है, but you have done this only 4.0 plus 5.7. So you implicitly, automatically, you converted this integer into a double. Do you agree with me? I am not telling anything new. You automatically, without me having to tell you, you implicitly converted this integer to double so that you can give a precise answer without losing any data. And that is what Java also does. Int plus data, that is converted into a higher data type, right? So, one second, guys. I think there's some issue with the network. Give me 1 second. Yeah. I think I got an pop-up. 1 second. Let me just check once. Okay. I don't know. Sometimes it works fine. I don't know why today it is giving problem. Okay, cool. So what have you done is you always convert the less superior data type into a more superior data type. Okay, so you converted this integer into a double. Okay, and then you did the addition. So you got the answer as 9.7. Similar thing happens in Java. Boss, whenever you are evaluating an expression which has different data types, देखो, अगर किसी ने पूछा what is integer plus integer, then your answer will be an integer. There is no confusion here. If somebody asks integer divided by integer, your answer will be an integer, right? If the data types of your expression are the same, then you will get the answer in that particular data type only. Okay. If somebody gives int plus double, then you will get the answer in double. Okay. So the less superior data type is automatically typecasted, automatically converted into a more superior data type. And that is what is the idea of typecasting. Okay. And this thing that happens automatically, this is known as implicit typecasting. Implicit typecasting. And this is the reason typecasting मतलब क्या हुआ? Casting मतलब क्या हुआ? Think of it like this. You have an ice tray, right? You put water in the ice tray and you freeze that. So water takes the form of a cube. Cast हो गया वो water in a shape, right? You are converting that water from a liquid to a solid cube, right? You are changing the shape. So similarly, you are converting a data type from int to a double. You are typecasting. You are changing the appearance of that data type. So that is what is known as typecasting. And this thing is done automatically. A less superior data type is automatically converted to a more superior data type. That is what is known as implicit typecasting. Implicit matlab automatically hota hai. You don't have to take care of that, right? So that is why, guys, when I asked you what is 8.0 divided by 3, then this is a double, okay, divided by an integer. So this expression has a double and an integer. So what will happen? Double is more superior than int. So this int is going to be converted into a double and you will get the answer in double itself. So this will give you the proper answer of 2 point whatever is the answer, right? Okay. So now let's come to a couple of things. We'll try to do it. See, things are pretty, मतलब छोटे topics hai, but the better you understand them, na, later on, these are some small fundamentals of the language that you should keep in mind. Hello, am I audible now? Guys, बहुत ज़्यादा break हो रहा है. I think I'll have a look at the connection after today's class, but if it's manageable for today, at least if we can manage, then it's better. Otherwise, I think we'll have to see. Audible? Okay, cool. So, let's just quickly do it. I'm just wanting to do some operations. So int x is equal to, let's say 5 by 6. Can you tell me what will be the value of x when I print it? Anybody? Can anybody help me? What is the value of x? 0. Does everyone agree? When you divide 5 by 6, what is the quotient, guys? The quotient is 0, right? So x will contain the value of 0. Okay. And if I say x is equal to now 5 modulo 6, then can you tell me what is the value stored in x? 5. Because when you divide 5 by 6, the remainder will be 5. So let's do it. So 0 and 5. So the output is clear, right? And if I want to get a proper answer, okay, what can I do? Let's say 5.0 by 6. Abhi karke hum log dekhte hain. And we need to store it in double. That is for sure, right? Now let's do it. See, 0.83334, right? So that is working fine. So that is what I wanted to tell you about implicit typecasting. Okay. Now, if I Google it up, boss, what data type is converted into what data type? So let me just Google up implicit typecasting. What is percentage? Percentage is the modulo operator, right? It will give you the remainder when you divide two numbers, right? So if you look here, guys, this is the order in which implicit typecasting is done. A byte can automatically be typecasted into a short. A short can automatically be typecasted into an int. An int can automatically be typecasted into a long. Long can be typecasted into a float, and a float can be typecasted into a double, right? So this is the order that is existing. So any lower data type can be typecasted into a higher data type, okay? And string is the most superior data type, okay? Because it is a non-primitive data type, string is the most superior, okay? So now you will see something like this. Very, very frequently you are going to see this thing. So it's important that we, spend some light here. Typecasting का मतलब होता है byte can be typecasted to double for sure, yes, because byte is a lower data type as compared to double, right? So you can automatically typecast a byte to a double. That is not a problem at all. And how do you understand this thing? Byte D is equal to, let's say, 15, right? And then let's say I'm telling double answer is equal to 5.6 plus D. So see guys, 5.6 is a double, D is a byte. So what will happen is automatically this byte will be converted to a double, and then it will be added, and then your answer will be stored in the answer variable. So if you print answer, you will see that automatically you get the answer as 20.6. Let's see. Okay, 20.6 is coming fine. So here see now, D is byte now. So byte plus double. So byte is automatically typecasted into a double. That happens internally, implicitly. You don't have to worry about that. Now, guys, what I want you guys to understand is change double to int once. Okay, that will be a problem, right? That will be a problem. I'll tell you. We'll come to that also. Okay, we'll come to that. It's good that you are thinking in the correct directions. We will come to that. Okay. Now, guys, what I want you guys to understand is whenever you were using double quotes inside system.out.println, what is the thing that you write in double quotes? Within double quotes, we have a string, right? And the string is nothing but a collection of characters. So whatever you have within double quotes, that is your string, and that will be printed on the screen. Okay. So think of it like this. If I am doing hello, so hello will be printed on the screen. Now you can use a plus operator with two strings. देखो, hello, hi. Let's say ऐसा करता हूँ, ठीक है? So you will say, hey Adarsh, in maths the plus operator was used with numbers, and we understood what plus does, right? But what do you mean when you say plus between two strings? Hello is also a string, hi is also a string. So what will the plus operator do between two strings? Can anybody help me? Let's look at the output, and then you will help me with what is the plus operator doing. Hello, hi, one after the other. So the plus operator is basically concatenating the two strings. And what does it mean when I say concatenate? One after the other. Hello ke baad hi chipak jayega. Okay. So plus operator, when it is used with two strings, it is just doing a normal concatenation. So a string plus string, you will get the output as a string only, is equal to string. Okay, this is a rule, right? String plus string, a concatenation will happen, and you will get the final string as output. Okay, so this makes sense. This is easy to digest, right? But now can you help me with this hello plus 5? What do you think will happen? And here I will help you think in terms of typecasting. Think in terms of typecasting. Think in terms of typecasting. Hello 5. Let's run, and then we will try to see. See, hello 5 is printed, right? So naturally, if you see this for the first time, you will be confused, right? Ki boss, string plus integer. What is this? What will be the answer? Let's fall back to our fundamentals. Okay. So what is happening, guys? You have two different data types in the expression. One is string and the other is an integer. Now, what is the most superior data type? What is the most superior data type, guys? Int or string, which is more superior? String is more superior. So what will happen is this integer will automatically be typecasted into the string. Okay. So the 5, which is an integer, it will be converted to a string. So the first string was hello, and this 5 will be converted to a string. You have a string 5. And now guys, string plus string is string. So concatenation will happen and you will get hello 5. Is this part making sense? Is this part making sense? You will see this very, very often, right? Just you have to remember that whenever there are multiple data types in an expression, you will get the final answer in the most superior data type. And that is what is the idea behind implicit typecasting. Okay, cool. Okay, so this makes sense, right? This makes sense of what happens with implicit typecasting. This is not needed. No, this is not needed. Because if you put this now, then you are simply adding 2 strings. You are concatenating. What I am telling is, even if you do hello plus 5 now, that conversion of an integer to a string will happen internally automatically. A string plus an integer. Automatically, this number 5 will be converted to a string and then concatenation will happen. Okay, cool. So this was about why string is more superior than int, because you can store all information in a string, right? Whatever information you can store in an integer, you can store inside a string as well. Okay, that is why it's more superior. Okay, guys, so let's get back to the PPT. So now I am pretty sure that people are clear with the concept of implicit typecasting. And all these mathematical operators, plus, minus, into, divide, modulo, these are making sense that what these different operators do. Now, guys, before I go further to relational and logical operators, I want to cover 2 other important things as well. See, there are a lot of tiny bits and pieces here and there, right? So let's say I give you an expression to evaluate. Okay, guys, give me 10-15 minutes. We'll take a break. Give me 10-15 minutes, right? So let's say I give you a mathematical expression to evaluate. Samajh lo, you are in class 7 and 8 and your teacher gives you the expression. Or let's say you get this expression to evaluate. All of you have done these kind of expression solving in maths. Pretty sure sabne 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mein ye sab kiya hoga, right? So there you took, how did you decide? There are multiple operators in this expression, right? पहले आपको addition करना है, or you want to do subtraction, or you want to do division, or you want to evaluate the brackets. How did you do? You followed a rule that was called as the BODMAS rule. Okay, that first the brackets will be evaluated, then off, then division, then multiplication, addition, and subtraction, right? So following this rule, we were able to come to our answer. Now, I won't go and solve this entirely in detail now, but there was a rule. Now, similarly, whenever you get any expression in programming that consists of all these different kinds of operators, we have a very similar rule as compared to BODMAS. Very similar rule, right? We have BEDMAS. What does BEDMAS actually mean? E doesn't hold good for Java, but it is good for Python. But anyhow, what does BEDMAS mean? First of all, brackets, exponentiation, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction, right? So BEDMAS rule is followed, right? But there are 2 things, right? What happens is, see, there are 2 things when you talk of evaluating expressions, right? One is precedence and the other is associativity. Okay. Now, what does precedence mean? See, I am trying to explain the terms in as simple way as I can. Precedence mean what operator will get priority. Precedence matlab किस operator को आपको पहले evaluate करना है. Okay. Think of precedence like somebody is telling you first evaluate brackets, then evaluate exponentiation, then evaluate division. Excuse me. Okay, then evaluate division, then evaluate multiplication, something like that. So precedence is basically telling you the priority of the operators, which operator you should evaluate first, which operator you should evaluate second, which operator you should evaluate third, and so on. Okay. So for most of the cases that we are going to look at, right, BEDMAS is the rule that we are going to follow. Okay. So brackets have a higher precedence as compared to division. Division has a higher precedence as compared to addition. Okay. Are you getting this idea? Yes. So brackets have a higher priority than division. Division has a higher priority than addition, right? That is what is a precedence. Using precedence, you are able to understand which operator has a higher priority. Okay. Now what happens is division and multiplication are at the same precedence level, and addition and subtraction are also at the same precedence level. So let's say you have two operators who are at the same precedence level. Let's say I give you this thing like this. Okay. And the rule is bed mass. And in bed mass, I know that division and multiplication are at the same precedence. Addition and subtraction are at the same precedence, right? So how do I decide which operator should I evaluate first? Should I evaluate a multiplication first, or should I evaluate a division first? See, using precedence, I cannot understand this because both the operators have the same precedence. Dekho, division and multiplication have the same precedence in programming. Addition and subtraction have the same precedence in programming. So that is where we come to the concept of associativity. Okay. So how does associativity help you? Associativity will help you, boss, if you have two operators or more operators with the same precedence, in what order you should evaluate them. So for all these operators into divide, plus, minus, the associativity is from left to right. Okay, the associativity for most of the operators that we are going to study is from left to right. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? Left से right में travel करो. Whatever operator you get first, evaluate that. So when you travel from left to right, first of all, you will get a multiplication. So evaluate that. Then you get a division. So evaluate that. And your answer will be 10. Okay? If okay, is this making sense, guys? Cool. So that is basically the idea between, precedence and associativity. Most of the operators that we are going to study, they have left to right associativity. There is one operator that should be of interest to you, which is the assignment operator. And that has an associativity from right to left. Okay, let me give you an example. If somebody gives you a statement like this, boss, if you look at this expression, right, are there many operators in this expression? Do you agree? This expression has multiple operators. There are 3 different assignment operators. So how do we evaluate this expression? The precedence of the 3 assignments will be the same. That is for sure. So I will look for the associativity of the assignment operator. And the assignment operator has an associativity from right to left. So I will first evaluate this operator, then this, and then this. So let's see how it works. So first of all, this assignment operator will work. And what it does, it will take the value on the right hand side and it will assign this value to the variable z. So first of all, the variable z will get a value of 5. Now this assignment operator will work. So what is the value of the expression on the right hand side? Z has a value of 5. So the value of z will be taken and it will be assigned to the variable y. So y will also have a value of 5. Okay. Then this assignment operator will work. What will happen? The value of y, which is 5, will be taken and this will be assigned to the variable x. So x will also have a value of 5. Okay. So this is the only case of our interest where the associativity is from right to left. That is assignment operator. Okay. Cool, guys. So is everyone clear with the concept of implicit typecasting and associativity and precedence of operators? And is everyone clear with the fundamental mathematical operators that we talked about? Okay. Now, another thing that I want to discuss before I go to relational and logical operators, right? And this will be the last thing that we do. And after that, we'll have a 10 minutes break. The break won't be too long today, right? 10 minutes break, and then we'll again resume the session, right? Okay. So what happens is, there is one more concept that I wanted to cover, which is explicit typecasting. Can anybody guess by the name what is this? Can anybody guess by the name? क्या होगा इसका meaning? Anybody? Yes. Yes. Done by us. Explicit typecasting. You have to explicitly typecast. The compiler will not typecast on its own. And when does this hold true, guys? When does this hold true? Now try to understand. I give you a situation like this. Let's say I say int x is equal to 54. Okay. So you have a variable x that has 4 bytes of information and 54 is stored there. Now let's say I do byte C is equal to X. The compiler will complain to me. The compiler will complain to me. The compiler will tell you that, hey, you know what? X has a data type of integer. That means there were 4 bytes reserved for X. And now you are trying to store that data, which is present in 4 bytes, inside a space that only has 1 bytes. मतलब आप 4 bytes का information 1 bytes में accommodate करना चाह रहे हो. The compiler won't allow this thing to happen. Why? Because there can be a potential data loss happening. See, X has a space of 4 bytes reserved, right? And when the compiler sees that you are trying to store the information of X inside the variable C, which has only 1 byte available, so the compiler will say, boss, are you sure you want to do this? 4 bytes of info you want to accommodate in 1 byte. It is very risky. Do you want to do it? So this will error out. But I am confident that 54 can be stored inside the variable C as well. So I will have to explicitly convert the value of X inside or I will have to explicitly typecast X into a byte so that I can store that information inside the variable C. So I will take the value of X, and then those 4 bytes of information will be converted to 1 byte, and then it will be stored inside the variable C. But again, guys, please remember, explicit typecasting always has a risk of data loss. So please do it only when you are 100% sure that there won't be any data loss, right? So let me try to give an example, a couple of examples to you. Yes, compiler says, boss, it is on your risk, right? I won't do it automatically. If you are confident, do it. Otherwise, I won't allow it. So let's see quickly example. Byte D is equal to, let's say, not like this. Okay. Now I say byte D is equal to X. And then I say print the value of D. Okay. Now let's try to run it. See, can byte be stored in int? Yes, it can be done, right? Dekho, lower data type you can store in higher data type. That is not a problem. That will be implicit type conversion. But the reverse is not true, right? 4 bytes of info you want to store in, 1 byte, that is a problem. See, if I run it, what happens? See, incompatible types, possible lossy conversion from int to byte. Now you will have to do an explicit typecasting. And how we do explicit typecasting? Put brackets here and write byte. You see, whatever is the value stored inside the variable X, those 4 bytes of information will be typecasted to a byte. That is, that information will be converted to 1 bytes, and then only that truncated information will be stored in the variable D. Now it will complain. 56. Okay, so this is nothing but explicit typecasting. Okay, or narrowing. Okay, so if you have to look why we need explicit typecasting. See, there might be situations, I will tell you why do you need explicit typecasting, right? There might be situations where you might want to do an explicit typecast. I asked it only. If X is equal to 300, then what? Yeah, okay, good question. If X is equal to 300, let's see. See what happened, guys? There was some data loss. 300 cannot be stored in 1 byte of space, right? So you got some weird output which you were not expecting. Data loss ho gaya. Okay. I will repeat it once again. See, what is happening is your X is an integer data type and it is storing the value 56. Now, when you do byte D is equal to X, the compiler will complain. Why? Because the compiler will say X is containing 4 bytes of information, and you are trying to store 4 bytes of information inside the variable D, which only has 1 byte of space. So 4 byte ka info, if you are trying to store in 1 byte, it can lead to possible lossy conversion of data. So it won't allow you to do that. But if you are confident enough, you can say, I want to explicitly, forcefully convert the value that is inside X into a byte value and then store it inside the number D or the variable D. So just put brackets here and write byte. So whatever is the information inside the variable X, that will be taken, converted into a byte, that is into 1 byte of info, and that will be stored in the variable D. Okay. How will we get to know that the number is more than 1 byte? That you have to remember the ranges then. Okay. But don't do it, right? This is done very rarely, but just so that you understand, I am giving you an idea. Now, one way where you will see this getting used very frequently is, see, what did I tell you guys? What is a character? Can anybody help me? Acha guys, if you do like this now, it is not a problem. 1 second. Let's see what happens. Can anybody predict? Error out हो जाना चाहिए. देखो. This, the compiler has errored out. The boss 500 is an integer, but this value 500 cannot be stored in 1 byte of information. But if you do byte a is equal to 5, it will not complain. Okay, this 5 is an integer, but the compiler understands that yes, 5 can be stored inside a byte data type, so it won't complain. Okay. How many of you are understanding what is happening? Let's see. Got it. Okay, great. Okay. Now, one other thing where you might see this getting used is, what did I tell you? That characters are basically 300 input ones. 56 kaise aaya? See, how will 56 come? Boss, 56 can be stored in 1 byte also, right? 56 can also be stored in 1 byte. So even if you typecast this X into a byte now, the information will not be lost, right? So whatever is the information inside X, that was 56. Okay. So let's say there were certain bits, right? Whatever. There were certain bits. And you just converted or you truncated the data from 4 bytes to 1 byte. But I know that 1 byte is sufficient to hold the value of X, right? 56. So that is why there was no data loss and D contained the value of 56. Okay. That is what is happening. Okay. Why number 44 appeared? Okay, good question. Can anybody help me? Why did the number 44 appeared? मेरे को 44 नहीं पता क्यों आया, but I can explain why I got an output other than 300. I don't want to go into the technicalities of 44 at this point of time. Why? आप 300 store करना चाह रहे हो in 1 byte and that is not possible because 300 cannot be stored in 1 byte. So some information got lost and you got a corrupt data in the form of 44. Okay, cool. Whatever, right? We don't want to go into complexities of these things. Okay. Now, one thing that I want you guys to understand is, see, how is a character stored? A character is internally stored in the form of an ASCII code only, right? So you can add or subtract from characters. See, logically, if I say a plus 2, what do you think will be the answer? A plus 2, logically socho. Character A and add 2 to that. See, logically thinking, the ASCII of code of character A is 65. If you add 2 to 65, what you will get? 67. Okay. And what character maps to this ASCII code? Character C. So A plus 2 is nothing but C. Okay. So if I try to do something like this, character A is there and I add 2. Okay. If you try to run it, you will see that you are having an issue. Let's see. Okay, this didn't give an issue, but generally it's a good practice. It can give problems sometimes. Oh, 1 second. Okay, if it's not giving, then it's fine. But I have seen sometimes issues with compilers on this, right? It's generally a good practice to do, right? See, what is A? A is a character. And what is 2, guys? 2 is a integer. So character plus integer, what is it? It is an integer, right? Character plus integer. Okay, I understand. When will it give an error? देखो, मैं बताता हूँ क्या हुआ. Let's see. See, guys, A plus 2. A is a character and 2 is an integer. So character plus integer will be an integer. But what is the value of this integer, guys? 65 plus 2, that is 67. So the value on the right hand side is 67. So when I say char C is equal to 67, that is not a problem because 67 can be safely stored inside 2 bytes, which is reserved for char. Do you agree? देखो ना, जैसे मैंने byte a equal to 5 किया ना, तो 5 can be safely stored inside a byte data type, so not a problem. So similarly, a plus 2 is nothing but 67. Okay. And 67 can be safely stored inside the character variable C. So that is why there was not a problem. But now guys, think of it like this. Think of it like this. Let's see, I'm just trying something. Okay, let's see. Why capital A is 65? That is like, okay. Now see guys, that is what I was telling you. Now see, char C is 1 plus X. What is 1? 1 is capital A and X is 2, right? So अब क्या हो रहा है? If you try to very closely understand this, what is happening is 1 is a char and X is an integer. Now you are adding a char and an integer. Okay, you are adding a char data type with an integer. So the final output is going to be an integer variable only. Okay, you don't have a constant value here. You have an integer variable or an integer data type. And then when you want to store this integer value inside a character, it will complain. Okay. अभी देखो ना ये दोनों variables है ना. So it is telling, okay, you are adding a character variable with an integer variable. So the answer will be an integer variable. Now you want to store the contents of an integer variable inside a character. That may not be possible. It is risky. You might have a possible lossy data loss, right? You might lose data. So what can I do? I will have to explicitly tell the compiler, if 1 plus X karo, whatever is the variable, I pass it to a character and then store the answer. And now if you see, you will see that I get the answer capital C. Okay, 1 second. Oh, why did it not work? Oh, sorry, my bad. What have I done? This is how we typecast, right? See, now it works, right? So the only thing that you need to understand now, if you have a constant, right? Let's say byte is equal to 5. Agar aapka right hand side pe constant hai na, then it is not a problem. So 5 is an integer constant and it can be stored safely inside the variable A. Compiler can make this decision. But if I did something like this, byte A is equal to X, then X is an integer variable and the compiler will not be able to take a decision here. The compiler will tell boss, you are trying to store the contents of an integer variable inside a byte variable. So are you sure you want to do it? So in this case, you will have to typecast explicitly. You take the contents of X, typecast it into a byte and then store it, right? That is what is the basic idea. So similarly, here you had one variable as a character and the other variable as an integer. So character plus integer will be an integer variable. Now, if you want to store the contents of an integer variable inside the character data type, you have to typecast the result explicitly into a character. Okay. And one very practical example is when you want to add some numbers to a character variable. देख लो यहीं पे करना पड़ेगा. Okay. Yes, X is an integer. See, X is an integer now. Okay. Is this part making sense, guys? Why not? Yeah, you can do like that also. Yes, I think this is the more general practice, right? कि एक बार में आप expression निकाल लो and then just do a quick typecasting. Okay, cool. So hopefully this is clear, and if you Google up also now, you will get good articles on this where you can read and get your concepts clarified. But if I just want to summarize this, what happens is whenever you are trying to store a bigger data type into a smaller data type, then you have to explicitly convert the bigger data type into a smaller data type, right? That is how it works. Otherwise, the compiler will complain to you that, boss, the number that you are trying to store, that may not be able to store inside a lesser or a smaller data type, and you might get a possible lossy conversion of data. Okay, so that is explicit typecasting. It's not much used, but anyways, I thought that let's cover it so that you get a good idea of what is happening. Okay, now guys, now I will give you 2 quick outputs and you will have to tell me, and after that we'll go to a 10 minutes break. Just give me the answer to both of these, right? Can anybody help me? What should be the output of this? Anyone? Hello world 510. Okay, great, great. And what will be the output for this? These two. Let's try to run it and then we'll try to understand this, right? Both these things. The first output is hello world 510 and the second output is 15 hello world. So let us try to explain both of these. Let us try to explain both of these. Let's look at the first statement, right? Let's look at the first statement. What is it, guys? String plus int. Okay. So the operators are plus operators. Okay. Now tell me, which plus do you evaluate first? Your associativity is from left to right. So first of all, you will evaluate this string plus int. And when you do a string plus int, what will happen? Internal typecasting or implicit typecasting. This int will get converted to a string. So the first operation that will happen is hello world plus 5, where 5 is a string. Okay. So you will get the output as hello world 5. This is the string. Okay. And after this, you are again adding it with 10, which is an integer. So again, you have a string plus an integer. So what will happen, guys? This integer will be converted into a string and then concatenation will happen. So do you guys understand that because of the left to right associativity, you got the answer in the first case as hello world 510. Is this making sense? Let's see how many of you are clear. Yes. But in the second case, what happened? In the second case, what happened? You had int plus string. Okay. Again, your associativity is from left to right. So what is int plus int? Int plus int is an int only. So 5 plus 10 is 15. You get 15. Okay. Now 15 plus a string. So now you are doing an int plus a string, right? So int plus string, this int will be typecasted into a string and then concatenation will happen. So you will get 15 hello world. Okay. Is this making sense, guys? Now, what if I want to print here hello world 15? Can you quickly tell me what to do? What if I want to print hello world 15 for the first line itself? What can I do? मेरे को 5 plus 10 ही पहले करना है. What can I do, guys? Help me. Brackets. Very good. Thank you. So just use brackets. Okay. Using brackets, I am telling first of all, these brackets will be evaluated. So 5 plus 10 is 15. And then hello world plus 15 will happen, which will give you hello world 15. Okay. That is all about associativity, precedence, operators, internal or implicit typecasting, explicit typecasting that you want to know. Is this part making sense? Is everyone following the class till here? Yes? Okay, great. Cool, guys. So I think we'll take a quick 10 minutes break. Let's meet at 11:30 and we'll try to continue further, right? And I think I'll take some questions from the portal also, and we'll try to cover up relational operators and logical operators. Okay? Cool. You want a break or not? I am comfortable without a break also and with a break also. 10 minutes break? Chalo, theek hai, 10 minutes break le lo. Okay. Okay. So let's meet back at 10:30 sharp. Okay. I think today we'll have to extend the session a little bit because the first half an hour you had an alumni session. So I need some time. Why is 15 in second line directly taken? Why? What is int plus int? Int plus int is int only, na? That is why 5 plus 10, 15 ho gaya. Okay. Cool. So let me pause the recording. Assignments thing, right? So the reason why I didn't go into the assignments till now was I wanted to first of all make you guys clear with the fundamentals, right? And see, guys, we might be going a little bit slow as compared to what is mentioned on the portal because I missed my first class and I had to teach from start, scratch from the second class, right? So we might be one lecture behind, but I'll try to cover up as we move along. Okay. Now let's come to the portal and let's try to solve a couple of assignments, right? So that you guys are clear with how to approach assignments from the topics that we have done, right? But before I go to assignments, what all we have to do, just let me check once. Okay. logical and relational operators. Okay, that's simple. Typecasting is already done. Conditionals. Okay. Okay. This speed will be in sapling. In sapling, it's a little bit, I would say this speed with a little bit more emphasis. Okay. It depends. It depends, right? The speed is slow only. Itna speed ya isse thoda sa 1 notch slower you can expect, but not faster than this for sure, right? You will get good time in sapling as well as in Pioneer also. In Pioneer, we don't start, teach these. We start from a little bit above, like we expect fundamentals to be done, right? In the pre-course itself. But yeah, in sapling, you can expect things again start from scratch itself in a good way. So that is also one good thing. Okay. But yeah, let's get started anyways. So let's go to the portal. Guys, be rest assured, right? Kisi ko pace agar kam lagega, fast lagega, you all have the recordings, right? And after that, we have the live doubt classes. You have mentors. You can ping me. You can ping any other instructor, right? And the first thing that we take utmost pride is in, getting your doubts resolved in the fastest amount of time. That is the goal for each and every one of us here, right? So that is something that you can expect will happen, right? Very, very fast. Okay. Oh, line 1, hello world, 5, 10, line 2, 15. Karunakar, why is line 2, 15 hello world? Because you had 5 plus 10 in the starting, right? So integer plus integer is integer only. So 5 plus 10 will be 15. Okay. Yes, this is fundamental for Pioneer. Okay. I mean, it is fundamental for any course you go, right? Be it sapling, be it Pioneer, right? ये सबको ही आना चाहिए. कहीं पे भी जाओ आप. Cool. So let us try to, solve a couple of questions, right? These show already has completed, but anyways, I will do. Yeah, the class has started, right? Okay. So let's have a look at the question, right? N stars, the difficulty level is easy. In this task, you have to print N stars, N stars vertically and N stars horizontally. The first line of input contains the value N. Okay. So if the value of N is 3, you need to print 3 stars and 3 stars like this. Okay. If the value of N is 5, you have to print it like this. This is a loop question, to be honest. Correct. यहाँ पे क्यों दिया? It's a loop question. Let's not do it now. अभी नहीं कर पाओगे. ठीक है. It's a loop question, right? Okay. Anyways, we have to correct it. Welcome to Java. Let's look at this question. This is simple. Okay. So the question goes like this. Welcome to the world of Java. In this challenge, you will learn how to print hello world in standard output. We already know how to print hello world, right? Let's remove this line. It's disturbing. Okay. Now, kya karne bola hai? In this challenge, complete the code by copying the 2 lines of code below and pasting them inside the body of your main method. So what did I tell you? Whatever logic you have, you should write it after the curly braces of your main. So see, this is the opening and closing curly braces after the main. So whatever logic we write, we will be writing it inside these 2 curly braces itself. Okay. So we want to print hello world and then we want to print hello Java in 2 different lines. So you can simply write system.out.println. Okay. And then hello, comma, space, world. And see guys, your output should be exactly the same as the program is expecting. If you use here a small w or if you forget a space here or a comma here, you won't get the correct answer because whatever is given in the question, exact output is expected, right? And then I need to print hello Java. Let's copy it from here itself. So hello world and then hello Java will be printed in 2 separate lines. Why comma? दिया है question में hello comma space world print करने, right? It is given in the question to print it like this. Okay. Now it is shown that for C++ the syntax is different. For Python the syntax is different. But we are interested in Java only. So you must print 2 lines of output. What is the output format? Print 2 lines of output. The first line will have hello world and the second line will have hello Java. Okay. Without quotes, right? So that is it. And now when we run the code, let's see. When I run the code, I am getting the output as hello world, and in the second line, I am getting the output as hello Java. So it is matching the sample output. So now I can submit the code and I will see that this works fine. Okay. Okay, this works fine, right? Cool. So is everyone clear with this? किसी को भी doubt है ये basic question में? How is system.out.println working, printing the contents, moving to the next line? Everyone is fine with this? Okay, great. See, the first question that was there, right? That is printing the stars horizontally and vertically. Please ignore that question for the time being. Once we do loops, then we'll be in a good position to form that question. Okay? Now let's come to unit number 2. Unit 2. Let's come to data types and variables. Okay. So let's start with this question, input output in Java. I'm trying to solve the assignments here so that you guys have good idea. Okay. What have they done? In this challenge, you will learn to read input. May you tell me what's the type of question that comes in coding test? Okay, let's see. In this challenge, you will learn to read input for the first time. The most popular way to read input in Java is by using a scanner. We have already studied the scanner class. कैसे करते हैं? Scanner is equal to new scanner system.in. Now, can you tell me why have they not used SC here? Because SC was just a variable name. You can give any name to your scanner object. So they have used the name scanner itself. And then what are you doing? Int myInt is equal to scanner.nextInt. So using this snippet of code, you are able to take the input of an integer from the terminal. And then what they are doing it? They are printing it. How? System.out.println myInt is colon space. Then you have myInt here. There is a plus sign missing here that has to be added, right? So the exact expectation of this question is you take an integer input from the user. Let's say the user gives you an input of 8. So you will have to print myInt is colon 8 FA. If the input was 6, then you will have to print myInt is colon 6. Okay, this is what we have to do, right? Now, the code above creates a scanner object named scanner and uses it to read an integer. It prints the output using system.out.println. Okay, so the code output should be, if the input is 5, then the output should be myInt is colon 5. अब क्या बोल रहा है? In this challenge, you must read 3 integers and every integer should be printed on a new line. Okay. So if the input is 42, 100, 125, the output should be 42, 100 and 125 in 3 different lines. That is what they are telling us to do. Okay. Cool. So see guys, I don't apply much of my brain here at this point of time, right? So they are asking us to write the code here. Okay. They are asking us to write the code here and not inside the main. Okay. Let's not worry about what this is. When you go further in the course, you will understand it, right? But what they are doing is they are telling me to write the code here. So okay, I will write the code here. So first of all, guys, if you want to take an input, what do you need? You need a scanner object. So let us make a scanner. Scanner SC is equal to new scanner and it will read the input from the terminal system.in, right? Now I need to read 3 integers as input. So let's read int a is equal to sc.nextInt. Okay. I read this integer as input. Then I will read another integer, int b is equal to sc.nextInt. So I read integer, store it in the variable b. I read another integer and I store it in variable c. So after these 3 lines of code, I have successfully read 3 integers from the keyboard A and stored them in the variable A, B, and C. Now I simply want to print the value of the variables in 3 different lines. So what do I do? System.out.println A, I print the value of variable A. Then in the next line, I will print the value of variable B. And in the next line, I will print the value of variable C. Okay, so I'm printing the values in 3 separate lines. That's it, guys. You had to take 3 integers input from the user, and then you need to print A, B, and C in 3 different lines. Okay. Let's try to run it and see first of all if it's working fine. Yeah, you can use a \n also, Rohit. I generally find using println a little bit simple. That's why I use that. But you can use a \n also if you are comfortable. Okay. So 1, 2, 3 has been printed. Who gave the input? So So the input was 1, 2, 3, and you got the output as 1, 2, 3, right? So if I change the input and I give 5, 9, 1, okay, and run the code with this input, you will see that the output will be 5, 9, 1. So it's working fine, right? Now let's try to submit it and see. Okay, so all the test cases have passed. If you see here, all the test cases have passed. नीचे क्या code है? Please don't go for that at this point of time, right? You won't be able to understand. That is a separate class, and you will understand it when you go and understand object-oriented programming. तो अभी के लिए we will not use much of our brains here. And इधर में code लिखने बोला है, मैं इधर में लिख लेता हूँ. I will treat it as my main only, and I will write my entire logic here. But is the question and the output clear to everyone? How do you use a scanner and do it? Is it making sense? And see, if anybody wanted to print my int is and then the integer, then you will have to do something like this. My int is, put a colon, space, string end plus a. Can you tell me why do I put, how does this work? This is a string, and to a string you are adding an integer. So implicit typecasting will happen and concatenation will happen. So what will be your output? My int is space, and then you will have the integer. So if I run this, you will see that the first line of output will be my int is 5. The second line and third line will have 9 and 1. Let me try to run this code and tell you. My int is colon space, and then you have 1. Okay. Is this making sense, guys, to everyone? How is this working? Everyone clear with this? But we just have to print the value, so we don't want to do that, right? Okay. So let's go to the next question. Okay. Let's go to star pattern. What's it? Let's see. Okay, pretty simple, pretty simple. Remove this code first. Let's look at the question star pattern. In this task, you need to print a right angled triangle of height 3 and base 5 stars. Okay. So if you see, this is the pattern that you have to print. The height of this triangle is 3. Why do I say that the height of the triangle is 3? पहले draw कर लेते हैं, ठीक है? So this is the triangle, the right angled triangle that you have to print. Okay. Now the height of the triangle is 3. Why? Because there are 3 separate lines that you have to print. Okay. First line, second line, third line. So the height, if you see, the height of the triangle is 3. And the base has 5 stars. See the base. This is the base. The base is having 5 stars. Okay. So the first line is having 1 star. The second line is having 3 stars. And the third line is having 5 stars. This is the triangle that you have to print. So very simple, guys. No input, no difficulties there, right? We just have to print this star pattern. So what do I do? Let's print the contents of the first line. System.out.println. What will the first line contain, guys? 1 star. Printed. After this line, I have printed successfully the contents of line number 1, which was a single star. And my cursor has moved to the next line. Now in the second line, what do I need to print? 3 stars. So let's do it. System.out.println 3 stars. So I will print 3 stars in the second line, and then my cursor will move to the third line. Okay. In the third line, what do you need to print? You need to print 5 stars. So let's do a system.out.println 5 stars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the cursor will move to line number 4, and then the program ends. Okay. So this will print the right angle triangle of height 3, that is 3 different lines, and the base is consisting of 5 stars. So if I run this code, yeah, you can do it with this loop, but this question is not needed with loops. You can do it simply itself. Okay. So see, the output is this star pattern that we wanted to print, a right angled triangle of height 3 and base 5. Okay. Let's try to submit the code. So solution accepted. Is everyone clear with this? Again, it's a very basic question, I would say, not very difficult. See, in questions, you won't be using anything different than you learned, right? Whatever concepts you have learned, you are going to use those concepts only while solving questions. Okay, cool. Now let's go to the next question. And I'll share the code of all the questions that we have discussed with you so that you can do. What are test cases and how to complete them? See, test cases are, think of it कि आपको एक प्रॉब्लम मैंने दिया सॉल्व करने के लिए. ओके, आई गेव यू अ प्रॉब्लम टू सॉल्व and you have written the logic for it, right? Now I want to test your code, right? So I will have certain test cases कि मेरे को पता है कि if I give an input of 10 the answer should be 58. मेरे को ये पता है. So I give an input of 10 and then I see what output your code is giving. Okay, so this is a test case. I know if the input is 12 the answer should be 56. So I will give an input of 12 to your code and I will check whether the output is coming as 56 or not. If the input output matches, then the test cases pass. But if the input output does not match, then the test case fails. Okay. मानो एक ऐसा test case है कि for input 10, the output should be 50. But in your code, when you are giving the input of 10, you are getting the output of 48. So that means that this test case has failed. Your code is not working for this particular test case when you have an input of 10. Okay. That is what is test cases. Okay. Sir, unit 3 बता दीजिए. करेंगे. Unit 3 पे भी आएंगे. Let the correct time come. Ideally today was the day, but because we are one class behind, I think we might take some more time. Okay, now let's come to this question, right? Let's come to this question. Celsius to Fahrenheit, right? It is a very, very famous problem. Given a temperature in Celsius, convert it to Fahrenheit. Given a temperature in Fahrenheit, convert it into Celsius. Very, very famous classical problem, right? And I am pretty sure many of you should be knowing the formula also. C by 5 is equal to F minus 32 by 9. This is the formula that I learned in mathematics. Is this correct, guys? Can you or correct me if I am not correct here, right? So this is how we convert between Celsius and Fahrenheit, where C is the temperature in Celsius and F is the temperature in Fahrenheit. So this is the formula that we are going to use. Okay. Now let's look at the question. Given the temperature of a city in Celsius, so you are given the temperature in Celsius. Your task is to convert the temperature to Fahrenheit and return it. So आपको एक temperature मिला in Celsius, you have to convert that temperature to Fahrenheit and you need to print that answer. Okay. Note, it is guaranteed that the temperature in Celsius is a multiple of 5. What have they done by doing this? When I guarantee that the temperature is a multiple of 5, C by 5 will be an integer. Do you agree? You don't have to worry about this. See, if I do this, C by 5, 9 into C by 5 plus 32 is equal to F. Do you all agree with this formula, guys? F is equal to nothing but 9 into C by 5 plus 32. Do you agree? Yes. And they have guaranteed me in the program that C is a multiple of 5. So if C is a multiple of 5, 9 into C by 5 will be an integer only. Do you agree? If C is a multiple of 5, 9 into C is also a multiple of 5. When you divide it by 5, you will get an integer. Integer plus integer will be integer. So you will be getting your Fahrenheit as an integer only. That has been guaranteed. Okay. So now let's look at the input format. Input is an integer which represents the temperature in Celsius, which is a multiple of 5. Okay. And what will be the output? Return an integer containing the converted temperature in Fahrenheit. Okay. Let's understand the example. The first input, let's see, example number 1, input is 25. So you have given the temperature in Celsius, that is 25 degrees Celsius. Let's try to convert it. Chalo formula lagate hain. 9 into 25 by pi plus 32. Quick answers, guys. 45 plus 32, that is 77. And see, the output is 77. Okay. So is the question clear to everyone? See, first of all, you should be crystal clear with the question. What is the input you are getting? What is you are supposed to do and what should be the output? So once the question is clear, we can quickly solve the question using code. Okay. So let us go and try to solve this particular question. Let's do it. Okay. So first of all, what will I do, guys? I need to read an integer from the keyboard, that is the temperature in Celsius. So in order to read an integer, I need to have a scanner first of all. So let's make a scanner. Scanner SC is equal to new scanner system.in. So I have made my scanner object SC. Now I can use that scanner to read an input from the terminal or keyboard, right? Now what do I do? Int. Now see, guys, it's a good practice that to keep your variable names meaningful. I can keep here int x is equal to sc.nextInt. Okay? But this is not a good practice, right? I am reading a temperature and I know that it is the temperature in Celsius. So please have variable names which are meaningful. Okay. What is guaranteed? That is a multiple of 5. The input that you are getting now, that is a multiple of 5. The input temperature that you are getting, that is a multiple of 5. It is guaranteed, right? Okay. Now, what I am telling is, see, int x is equal to sc.nextInt. That's good. So you read an integer, which is the temperature in Celsius, and you store it inside the variable x. Now what do? I just have to apply that formula and I will get the answer in Fahrenheit. So let's do int, let's say y, right? Y is the temperature in Fahrenheit that I will get. So what do I do, guys? X into 9 by 5. So let's do it. X into 9 by 5. Okay. Or you can, you can do any operation first. That is, not any operation first. Therefore, first of all, you have to do it like x into 9 by 5. Let's once again write the formula, right? Okay, yeah, 9c by 5 plus 32. Okay, so first of all, what are you doing? Either do c by 5 or do 9 into c first, right? That is fine. So अगर मैं ऐसे लिखता हूँ x into 9 by 5, which operation will happen first? Can anybody help me? Can anybody help me? First of all, x into 9 will happen, and then division will by 5 will happen. So not a problem. Okay. Plus, okay. And then we want to add 32. That's it. That's it, guys. And now I want to print the answer. System.out println y. Okay. Cool. Does it look fine? If you want to be more sure, put brackets. You first do x into 9, then do a division by 5, and then add 32. If you want to be more clear. Okay. But without brackets should also work. Okay. Now let us try to run the code. What in case of negative? Temperature negative bhi hota hai, guys. See, an integer can be positive or negative. That is not a problem, right? So if you get the input, let's say as -5 degrees Celsius. So what will happen? -5 into 9 is -45. -45 by 5 will be -9. And -9 plus 32 will be what? What will be? 22. Sorry, 23. Right? So that is it. Okay. Let's try to give an input. Okay, let's take the input as 25 degrees Celsius, and let's run the code and confirm that our code is giving the output of 77 only. Yes, it's working fine. Okay. And your explanation is given here. 25 into 9 by 5 plus 32 is 77. Okay. Now, if I give an input of -40, the output remains the same. -40 degrees Celsius is the same as -40 degrees Fahrenheit. Same. Okay. So if I give -40 as input, let's run the code. The output should be -40. Let us verify. The output is -40. So it is working fine. It is working fine. So let's try to submit it. Okay. See, test case 0 passed, 1 passed, 2 passed, 3 passed, 4 passed. So all the different test cases that are there, those passed, and our code is working fine. So is everyone clear with this logic? Simple. You just had to know basic arithmetic operators in order to solve this particular problem. Now, a good practice is that whenever you are writing code now, make the variable names a little bit more meaningful. Okay. So you can write here like temperature Celsius. Aisa kuch variable naming do, right? Then int temperature Fahrenheit, whatever, right? So it makes the program a little bit more readable, right? When you read the program, it makes more sense. Okay, what are you exactly doing? You are taking a temperature in Celsius as input, converting it into Fahrenheit and printing the Fahrenheit temperature. But again, this is totally up to you, but it is generally a good practice to maintain, right? You can have any variable name, temp C, temp F. I'm happy with it. Okay. So that is what is happening. Yes, there will be test cases in the exam. If there are no test cases, how will we evaluate whether your code is correct or not? Acha guys, now one quick question I will ask you. One very quick question I will ask you. What if C was not a multiple of 5? Let's say if C is equal to 24. Okay. Then 24 by 5 might not be an integer, right? So if you want to get correct answer, then what you have to do? Can anybody help me? Can anybody help me? Can anybody help me? You have to typecast. I don't go with floats. Generally, we use double, right? So if x is not a multiple of 5 now, So x into 9 may not be a multiple of 5. So this division might be a floor division, but I don't want that. So I want the final output to be in decimal, that is a double. So we have to use a typecasting. Okay. And guys, what kind of typecasting? You will have to explicitly typecast, right? Otherwise it won't happen. So मैं क्या करूँगा? Generally what you can do is you can use a 9.0 here. Okay. That works now. That does the trick. Do you agree? X into 9.0, that will be a double only. And then double by integer will be double. So you will get the answer fine. Let's see. Or let's take 24 degree, right? If you run the code, you will see the correct answer. Oh, wait 1 sec. Okay, okay. Sorry, X भी आ गया ना यहाँ पे. Okay. Let's see. Where is X? No, it's fine, right? So see, you got 455.0, right? So कुछ अलग देते हैं. 188.6, right? So that is fine. Yes, you can also do bracket में आप double भी लगा सकते हो. That is also fine, right? But this is a more simple way of doing it. Okay. So is everyone clear with this basic question? But आप लोगों के लिए question और भी simple है कि the input temperature in Celsius is always a multiple of 5. So you don't also have to care about this. Okay. Please try to experiment a couple of ways yourself also and try to see how you can solve this question. But I think this should be pretty much clear to everyone. Okay. Let's go back. Can you explain it again? See, I just told that if you want the answer in full decimal now, then you, whatever you are doing now, you can do it into 9.0 or divided by 5.0. Okay. You just have to perform an operation in such a way that you get a double. And then when you divide anything by a double or you multiply with a double, then it will work fine, right? And it will give you the correct answer in decimal. Okay. If the input is a decimal, then you will have to use a next double to read the input. Okay. What is the level of questions in coding test? The level of questions will be simple only. Whatever we are doing in the classes and whatever assignments you are getting, based on that only you can expect problems to be there. You know, similar concepts. Okay, cool. So I think we have done this unit. So is everyone clear with the 3 questions that we have done here? Okay, great. So let's move forward. System.out.println में typecasting करना है तो कैसे हो? You can try doing with the normal way that you do. If that doesn't work, you can typecast in another variable and then print it. Okay. Yeah, logical questions will only be there. Okay. So let's come back here. Now let's come back and we'll have 15 to 20 minutes more, okay, of class, and then we can try to wrap up. The 2 topics that are left for us to discuss now is relational and logical operators. See, the entire course is very interesting, right? You start following things once now, then there is no going back. You start enjoying the concepts very much, right? I have literally seen people who didn't know anything, and you know, once you start getting in the flow now, it's very interesting. And you know, the more you solve problems, the more you learn and the better experience you have. Okay, cool. Star question we will do later, guys, because that has involvement of loops. Okay. So let's come. So I am pretty sure that every one of you is clear with plus, minus, into, divide, modulo. Sorry. Yeah, sure. You can, sure. Okay, no issues. Yeah, sure. You can drop off. Plus, minus, into, divide, modulo. All these basic arithmetic operators are clear to everyone. Okay. Now, once the basic arithmetic operators are clear, I want to talk about something known as relational operators. And why am I talking about all these operators? Because we will be using them explicitly when we talk of conditionals. So what are relational operators? So in maths, I am pretty sure you have used operators like this: greater than equal to, less than equal to. क्यों ये सब use? 8 is greater than equal to 10. Or 9 is greater than equal to 12. You have used operators like this, right? less than, greater than, less than equal to, greater than equal to, right? So these are all relational operators. So similar to mathematics, you have relational operators in programming as well. And what are relational operators, guys? Think of relational operators as operators that help you to establish a relationship between two entities. Okay. जो relational operators होता है ना, that helps us to establish a relationship between two or more entities or two entities, right? So what are the relational operators? The relational operators available in programming is lesser than, greater than, less than equal to is written like this, not like this, right? Greater than equal to, okay? Then in order to check for equality, you have double equals. This is used for checking for equality. See, single equal to is assignment operator, right? So if you want to check for equality, you have to use a double equals. And not equal is this, not equal, okay? So these are some of the very basic relational operators. And using these relational operators, you can establish a relationship between two numbers or two entities. So what happens is, if I give you a statement like this, 8 greater than equal to 10, I am trying to establish a relationship. I am telling you that 8 is greater than equal to 10. But is this relationship that I have established, is this correct or not, guys? 8 greater than equal to 10. Is this relationship correct? No, this relationship is not correct. So I will say this is false. I will say this is false. If I say 7 not equal to 8, if I say 7 not equal to 8, I am giving you a relationship. 7 not equal to 8. What do you think? Is this relationship correct or not? This is correct, right? So this is true, right? So what I want you guys to understand is, whenever you use any relational operator, the output is a Boolean, either a true or a false, right? If somebody asks you, hey Adarsh, 8 equal to 8. Is 8 equal to 8? Yes, 8 is equal to 8. So the output for this will be 2. So whenever you use any relational operator, the output, you are establishing a relationship between two numbers, and the output of any relational operator is a Boolean, that is either a true or a false. And I am pretty sure these are self-explanatory, right? So greater than hai, less than, this is less than, this is greater than, this is less than equal to, this is greater than equal to, this is equality, this is not equal. Okay. What if you do a string comparison with a number? Definitely it will not be the same, right? Integer and string, you cannot compare it like this. Okay, there will be other ways which we will see on later, but definitely not like this. Okay, cool. So I think relational operators is pretty much self-explanatory. And the only important point that you have to understand here is that the output of any relational operator is a Boolean. Output of relational operator is Boolean. That is either a true or a false. Very, very important statement. Okay. Now this was all about relational operators. Now the last type of operators that I want to talk about, and you will see all these operators in action in a very, very little while also, right? So the last kind of operators that I want to talk about is logical operators. Logical operators. Okay. Now, what are logical operators? I don't know how many of you have studied this in mathematics, but in mathematics, you had logical and, logical or, logical not. Okay. And what was happening, guys? If you know true and true, if somebody tells me true and true, the output will be a true itself. Okay. Now think of it like this. अगर मैं तुम्हें ये बोलता हूँ, I am giving you a statement, right? Boss, Delhi is the capital of India, and the time now is 10 p.m. I am giving you two statements, or let's say like this. I am giving you Earth is round and Delhi is capital of India. Okay. So I have two statements here, right? I have two statements and I have grouped the two statements with a logical and. So I am establishing two things. I am telling you two things. Earth is round and Delhi is the capital of India. Guys, is this entire statement correct? मैं बोल रहा हूँ this and this. This is not. Okay. हो गया गलती से. Earth is round, right? Actually geoid होता है, but ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं. So both the statements are correct, right? Earth is round is also true and Delhi is the capital of India is also true. So if both the statements are true, I can say that the entire big sentence that I have written, the earth is round and Delhi is the capital of India, that is true. But let's say I would have written like this, earth is flat and Delhi is capital of India. Then is this entire statement true? No, this is not true. This entire sentence is not true. This entire sentence is going to be true only when both the parts are true. Both the parts have to be true. Even if one of the parts is false, then the entire statement is false. That is what is the idea of a logical AND. So when we write the truth table, of logical AND, it is something like this. Let's say there are two statements, okay, A and B. And what will be the output of A and B? Let's see the truth table, right? So if A is true and B is also true, then the output of A and B will also be true. If A is true, B is false, output of A and B will be false. If A is false, B is true, the output of A and B will be false. If both are false, then also the output of A and B will be false. So boss, in case of a logical AND, you get true only if both the statements are true. Only if all the expressions are true, then only you get the output as true. Even if one of the statements evaluate to be false, the output of a logical AND is false. Okay, this is the truth table of logical AND. Okay, so true and true is true, true and false is false, false and true is false, false and false is false. Okay. Now, similarly, you also have a logical OR. You have a logical OR. Now, what does a logical OR say? Logical OR ये बोलता है मेरे को कि hey, even if one of the statements is true now, the output is going to be true. Let's say I say like this. I am telling a statement. Earth is flat or Delhi is the capital of India. Okay. See, this part is false, but Delhi is the capital of India is true. So that is why this entire statement, earth is flat or Delhi is the capital of India, this entire statement evaluates to be true. So in a logical OR, even if one of the statements is true, then the entire expression evaluates to be true. Okay. So true or true will be true. True or false will be true. False or true will be true. False or false will be false. So in case of a logical OR, if both the expressions are false, then only you will get the final output as false. Even if one of the expression evaluates to be a true, then the output of the logical OR is going to be true. Okay, so this is the logical OR operator. And similarly, you have a logical NOT. What does the NOT operator do? It is simply like an inverter, right? So if A is true, then NOT of A is going to be false. ये simply invert कर देता है. If A is false, then NOT of A will be true. Okay, it just negates, right? So these are the three logical operators that are there in mathematics, and you would have seen this in Boolean algebra. You would have seen this in circuit design if you have gone through that, right? Yeah, they have symbols in maths, right? If the symbols in maths are, or not in maths, in physics or something like this. So logical AND is like this, okay? Two inputs and you get one output. Then in logical OR you have like this, if I am correct. Logical OR is like this. These are gates, right? And NOT is like this. It's an inverter. It's an inverter. So if you give the input as false, you get the output as true. Yeah, digital electronics. Okay. If you give the input as true, the output is false. Okay. It's just a negation. If the input is 0, the output is 1. If the input is 1, the output will be 0. Okay. Now, similarly, guys, these logical operators are present in programming also, in Java also. So what are the symbol of these logical operators? Logical AND is this symbol. This is logical AND in programming, right? So this is logical AND, okay? This two pipes, this is logical OR, okay? And this NOT, this exclamation is logical NOT. Is not equal same as not? No, that is different, right? See, 7 not equal to 8. This is different than, let's say, not of true. These two are different, right? The logical NOT is a unary operator. It just operates on one. Okay. This logical NOT, this operates only on one value. But this not equal to here, this is a relational operator. This has two operands and it does establish a relationship. There's a difference, right? So this NOT is a logical NOT. Okay. Now I give you an expression and you will help me with the answer. Yes. Can anybody help me? What will be the answer for this entire expression? True. Very good. So if you try to understand, you have relational and logical operators, right? So see, 8 equal to 9. What is this? This is false. Okay. 7 equal to 5, false. 5 equal to 5, true. So ultimately I have to evaluate false or true. This is what. So see, let's evaluate this first. False or false is false. And then you have a false or true. False or true is true. So the output ka expression, the expression's output is going to be true. Okay. So boss, if you have all logical ORs and if any one of the expression is true, then the final output is true only. Okay. Let's try to give me the answer for this. Yes, guys. Can you help me with this? So slow. It's true. It's true. Why do I say this? See. So first of all, this will get evaluated. Brackets dekh lo bhai. Pehle ye, then the AND will get operated and this bracket will give me the answer and then not will happen. Okay. So 8 equal to 9. This is false. Okay. Now false and again 9 equal to 5 is false. So false and false is false. Okay. And then you have a negation. Okay. So not of false is going to be true. So the output of this entire expression that I have written here is true. Okay. Now one other thing that I want to tell you is, guys, can you help me with one thing? I tell you, boss, the first expression, let's see how intelligent you are, right? So if I say that, boss, the first expression is evaluated to be a false. Okay? And there is a logical AND here. And there is something I don't know here, whether it is true or false. Can you tell me what is going to be the final answer of false and anything? Boss, if one of the expressions is false, it doesn't matter what is the output of the second expression. Because false and anything is going to be false itself. Look at the truth table, guys. If the first expression is false, then irrespective of whether the second is true or false, whether the second is true or false, the output will be false itself, right? So what I am telling is, if the first expression evaluates to be false, I don't want to evaluate this and I can simply say that the answer is going to be false. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with me? This is an intelligent thing for me to do. I can, save some time. So this is exactly what happens in compilers. So let's say if you have written something like this, right? 8 equal to 9 and 9 equal to 5. So what does the compiler do? The compiler will evaluate this expression and it is false. And when it sees that there is a logical AND, the false and anything is going to be false itself. So the compiler will skip the evaluation of this second expression. And this is what is known as short circuiting. Short circuit क्या होता है? दो वायर को जोड़ दिया ऐसा short circuit हो गया ना कहीं से. So you have taken a shortcut path. Okay, 8 equal to 9 is false. Okay. False and anything is going to be false. So the compiler will not evaluate this expression and it will short circuit and tell me that the answer is false itself. Okay. Is this making sense? Idea samajh aa raha hai. Boss, if you have a logical AND and the first expression is false, then the compiler will not even evaluate this second expression and it will directly, tell you that the answer is false. And this phenomenon is known as short circuiting. Now, if short circuiting exists in logical AND, can you tell me in what case the compiler will short circuit in a case of logical OR? Anybody? Can you help me? In what case will a compiler short circuit in case of logical OR? If the first expression is true. So if the first expression is true, then irrespective of whether the second expression is false or true, the output will be true itself. So if the first expression is true and you have a logical OR, the compiler will ignore this second expression and give you the output as true. This is also an example of short circuiting. Okay. So basically, guys, logical operators are used to group multiple expressions together, right? Multiple expressions can be grouped together with the logical operators. We can combine multiple expressions with the help of logical operators. Logical OR and logical OR and not is just like a negation. Okay. So is everyone clear with relational and the logical operators? And see guys, when you use logical operators, again the output is going to be a Boolean itself. Okay. कोई एक वैल्यू अलग होती, नहीं, उसको नहीं शॉर्ट सर्किट बोलते. सी, if let's say you have something like this, right, false or something, then the compiler has to evaluate the second expression, right? If the first expression is false, the compiler has to evaluate the second expression before it can make a conclusion. क्योंकि यदि यहाँ पे true हुआ तो आउटपुट में true आएगा, यहाँ पे false हुआ तो आउटपुट में false आएगा. So here the compiler has to evaluate the second expression. Okay, but if the first expression was true, then the compiler does not need to evaluate the second expression and it can give the final answer as true. That is what is short circuit. Okay. NAND and NOR, there is no specific operators, but you can simulate this, right? I am pretty sure. If you know Boolean algebra, I'll not go into the details, right? The boss A, B, what is NAND? A, B ka not, right? So what is this? You can simulate it, right? Why not? You can do it. A and B, do a logical and then not it. This is NAND, right? So you can simulate everything. Okay. So now guys, hopefully you are clear with all the operators, that is logical operators, arithmetic operators, and relational operators. Now the reason, what's the time? 1 second. Just guys, give me more 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, and we are done, right? Just give me 5 to 10. I'll just tell you a story and then we will stop, right? So we are done with almost all the topics for today, and I will just lay the course for conditionals so that we can start with conditionals tomorrow. Okay. Okay. So guys, our life is complicated. Story suno, okay? Our life is not that simple, right? It is complicated, right? You take decisions based on the circumstances you are in. Let's take an example. Let's say you are going for shopping. Okay, you are going for shopping. So, you know, your mother tells you that, hey, Adarsh, if there is a discount or if there is a sale of 50%, then buy, 5 clothes maybe. But if there is no sale, then just buy 2 clothes as much as you need. Don't spend extra money, right? We all do this. जब discount होता है तो हम लोग ज़्यादा खरीदते हैं. When there is no discount, we tend to buy as much as needed. Okay. So we do this, right? We are adapting to the conditions, right? Similarly, think of it like this. Hey, boss, if the chances of rain are greater than 90%, then maybe you will choose to carry an umbrella. Okay? But if the weather forecast says that the chances of rain are less than 90%, then you might want to skip carrying an umbrella. Okay. So what I want you guys to understand is, depending on different situations, we react differently. Okay. If the situation is different, we respond in a different fashion. If there is a sale of 50%, I will be buying 5 clothes. If there is a sale of 70%, I will be buying 10 clothes. If there is no sale, I will do a window shopping. So depending on different conditions, we react in different fashion in our day-to-day lives. So similar thing, guys, can happen in programming as well. What did I tell you? I told you that, boss, a program has a sequential flow of execution. The first line number 1, line number 2, then line 3, line 4, line 5, these are executed. But we don't always want a sequential flow of execution. We might want to take decisions based on certain conditions, right? So let's say I might want to take a decision. Okay, look at the weather condition. Right? So if the chances of rain are greater than equal to 90%, I will carry umbrella. Okay, I am taking a decision. If the chances of rain is lesser than 90%, I will not carry an umbrella. So depending on the circumstances, I can choose to take different paths. Similarly, okay, so if I go to a supermarket, I will look at the discount. Okay, if the discount is 0, I will buy 0 clothes. Okay, if the discount is 20%, I will, let's say, buy 5 clothes. If the discount is greater than 50%, okay, I will buy maybe, let's say, 10 clothes. Okay, this is a normal mathematics wala percentage. But what I want you guys to understand is, depending on different situations or different conditions, you might want to do something else. Okay. So what I am telling you is, let's say if I give you a very simple program, right? I ask you, hey, Adarsh, take the age of a person as input. And tell me whether that person is eligible to vote or not. Okay. आपको एक person का age मिला and you have to tell whether that person can vote or not. So can you directly say that the person can vote or he cannot vote? No, it will depend on the age of the person. You have to make a decision on the age of the person. You cannot write a program like this simply system.out.println can vote. It won't work, right? It won't work. If the age is 25, if the input is 25, your output is correct, can vote. But if the age is 17, you cannot print can vote, right? Because at the age of 17, the person cannot vote. So you cannot simply make simple programs to print can vote or cannot vote. You want to take decisions. And for these decisions, we come to the concept of conditionals. So conditionals is nothing but a control flow block. Okay. Using conditionals, you can control the flow of execution of your program. How will you do it? You take the age as input, and then you will make a decision depending on the value of age. Okay. So if the age is greater than equal to 18, I will print can vote. Okay. Otherwise, if the age is lesser than 18, then I will print can't vote. Okay. So depending on the condition, you can take a different path and you can execute different sets of instructions, right? So that is what is the idea of conditionals. The boss, life simple nahi hai. That is why in code also, whenever you are solving any problem, you might want to take decisions based on conditions. And that is where we come to conditionals, wherein we look at certain conditions, and depending on whether a condition is true or false, we take certain decision or we execute some lines of code. Okay. So I won't be going into the starting of conditionals today. We'll do conditionals tomorrow, right? So is this making sense to everyone, guys? Let's see. I just want to see your, I have just laid down the context for conditionals. Why do you need conditionals? And then we will try to solve and look at conditionals tomorrow. Okay. So hopefully, guys, the class today was fine. And the pace, I just want a feedback at the end of every class. Were you able to follow the class and was the pace and the content delivery fine? Okay. Cool. Great. Okay, guys. And any other doubts, please ping me on Discord, right? Adarsh112 is my Discord ID. You can ping me on Discord. You can ping me on LinkedIn, anywhere that you feel you can ask me, and I'll be more than happy to clear your doubts. Okay. Chalo, guys. Cool then. Bye-bye. Let's meet tomorrow and we will continue. Okay. Okay. Bye-bye. Exam का result कब आता है? So after you give the exam, right? I think when you give the coding test, after that, I think within 2 to 3 days max, I think within 24 to 48 hours, I would assume you will get the result. Okay. Discord ID. Okay. Let me share my Discord ID here with everyone. This is my Discord ID. You can check that. And if you want my LinkedIn, just search Adarsh Mohta. You will get it in LinkedIn as well. Okay. Hello. Notes not available on Discord. Okay, I'll ask Shikha to share the notes with you. I had shared with her. And the lecture doc also, which I was telling, where I will be maintaining the codes, I will share it with Shikha today. So you will get that. Okay. Okay. कितने assignments करने की जरूरत है? आप जितना कर सकते हो करो, right? Ideally, I would want all of you to attempt all the assignments and learn, right? But yeah, I think at least 50% is required to appear in the coding test. Not sure, but yeah, that's the condition. Okay, ठीक है यार, यही स्टोरी था, मतलब स्टोरी बता रहा था कि क्यों कंडीशनल्स चाहिए. Okay, cool guys, so let's meet tomorrow and then we'll start with conditionals, and from tomorrow your actual coding starts, right? We'll be solving problems using conditionals, loops, all these things, right? Very important. So please attend the class with full focus and full attention. And if you are not attending class, please have the, watch the recording so that you are clear with whatever is being done. Okay, cool guys. Bye-bye. Good night.